Chapter 131. At night. At the Tang family's manor. Tang Bingyan had just finished work and returned home. Her brows were tightly knitted, and there was obvious worry on her face. She looked like she had a lot on her mind. The reason for this was because of last night. She used an excuse to invite Wang Haoran to the couple's restaurant for dinner. She also calculated the date of her good news every month. After she knocked Wang Haoran out with a knockout drug, she wanted to hit the jackpot in one go. In this way, she could fulfill her grandfather's wish of having a great-grandson. However, when she woke up this morning, she found out that her good news of the month had come. In other words, the chance of hitting the jackpot was gone. She shamelessly acted as a bad woman for once, but in the end, her efforts were in vain. Her grandfather was urging her to get married. He kept urging her to get engaged to Yang Wuxian. Tang Bingyan was certainly unwilling to agree to this. However, her grandfather was indeed very old. Because of the marriage, she had been quarreling with him recently. Tang Bingyan was really afraid that one day her grandfather would be so angry that he would fall seriously ill. It was definitely impossible to get engaged to Yang Wuxian. Wang Haoran was also not suitable to replace the engagement candidate at the moment. Tang Bingyan was very worried. At this moment, Tang Lao suddenly came back from outside in a hurry. "Grandpa, weren't you sick and lying in bed, unable to move? Why are you walking so fast now?" Tang Bingyan asked playfully. "Something happened in Guishan. I just came back from the hospital." Tang Lao did not care about pretending to be sick. He said with a serious face, "Yang Wuxian is in the hospital. What's going on?" Tang Bingyan was a little surprised. "In a video you showed me before, the woman's husband, Shun Kong, somehow found out that his wife had cheated on him. In a fit of anger, he found a group of gangsters from the underground forces to kidnap Yang Wuxian and locked him up in a factory." Tang Lao sighed. However, Wind-Gathering Mountain is also quite brave. He defeated over 100 people on his own, but unfortunately, he was also injured. "Is it serious?" Tang Bingyan asked. "It's not life-threatening, but—" Tang Lao looked like he wanted to say something, but stopped on second thought. "But what?" Tang Bingyan asked. But some of his weak spots were severely injured. Tang Lao had a strange look on his face. "Where?" Tang Bingyan did not understand. It's that place." Tang Lao did not want to be too blunt in front of his granddaughter, so he gave her a strange look. Tang Bingyan was not a little girl anymore. She could understand what he meant. She was shocked at first, then she was suddenly happy. "Grandpa, what about the engagement? Let's just forget about the engagement." Tang Lao shook his head and sighed. He wanted to find someone for his granddaughter to rely on, but he also wanted to have a great-grandson. Now, Yang Wuxian did not even have the ability to do that. If his granddaughter married him, wouldn't she be a widow for the rest of her life? Even if he was old and confused, he would not push Tang Bingyan into the fire pit like this. Besides, Yang Wuxian deserved it. Who asked him to touch someone else's wife? Now it was all good. He could live the rest of his life without desires. In the police station, in a conference room, the leader who was sitting at the head of the conference table praised Ling Duanya. "Ling Duanya, Ling Duanya, you did a great job. Xiaoling, you've done a great job this time. Crow and the other criminals are the cancer of Qingling. We've attacked them many times before, but we haven't been able to find any substantial evidence. This time, we've caught all of them in one fell swoop. Qingling will have peace in the future. You've done a great job. Thank you for the praise, leader. This is what I should do." Ling Duanya was in high spirits. She had been in office for several years, but this was the first time she was so proud. "Speaking of which, it's mainly because I received a report. Otherwise, the cleanup would not have gone so smoothly." Ling Duanya brought up another matter after her joy. As she spoke, a handsome boy's face appeared in her mind. Ding! The female lead Ling Duanya's favorability towards the host has increased by 10. Current favorability towards the host is 35, very friendly. Ding! The host has influenced the plot. You have received 200 villain points. Wang Haoran had just finished showering when he suddenly received a notification from the system. He was slightly stunned. "According to the regulations, we will give a certain amount of money to the good citizen who made the report. Also, you can go and talk to him. If he is willing, We can also do a joint report with the TV station. The leader said, Okay, I will bring the money to him tomorrow and see what he thinks. Ling Duanya nodded. In an ordinary apartment with 2 bedrooms and 1 living room, Yang Jingwan and her family of 3 were sitting on the sofa watching TV. Jingwan, why don't you listen to your mother? It's just a matter of a few words. You should go and talk to young Master Wang. That way, your father's project will be settled. Li Monli tried to persuade her daughter. Jingwan, just help your father. The people under your father are all waiting to start work. If I don't start work soon, no one will be able to eat. As long as you go and talk to young Master Wang, he will be able to get us a project to do. Young Master Wang already said that we can ask him for help if we need anything. This is such a good opportunity. Don't waste it. Yang Tai also tried to persuade his daughter. Their family's current financial situation was not good. As the head of the family, Yang Tai naturally wanted to change the family's financial situation. There were a lot of construction teams out there, and the competition was fierce. If they didn't have connections, they wouldn't be able to get a project without connections. Now that there was a good opportunity in front of them, they had to fight for it. Dad, Mom, do you really think that there's a free lunch in this world? I just met him. Why would he help me for no reason? Yang Jingwan's face was filled with reluctance as she analyzed the situation. If I ask him for help, then I naturally have to give him something in return. Other than being pretty, what else do I have that's worthy of his attention? Don't you understand? You can give him some benefits. It's not like you have to give him anything in return. Furthermore, young Master Wang is so handsome. Even if he takes advantage of you, you won't be at a disadvantage. If you feel that something is wrong, you can reject him, Li Monli said. I really wonder if I'm your biological daughter. What mother would ask her daughter to do something like that? Yang Jingwan said angrily. Mom is doing this for your own good. You can't let young Master Su ruin your life, right? Now that young Master Wang has taken a liking to you, you should sacrifice a little to get some benefits. This will be beneficial to you in the future. Li Monli encouraged. But I'm married, Yang Jingwan sighed. What nonsense are you talking about? You're married as if you're not. Don't think that I don't know. Although you've been married for almost a year, you've always slept separately from that piece of trash, Li Monli encouraged. You don't even treat him as your husband. Why are you so particular about it? But I'm still married in name. Yang Jingwan's personality was still conservative. She couldn't get over the hurdle in her heart. She couldn't treat herself as a single woman and have unusual contact with other men without any scruples. How did I give birth to such a silly daughter? Li Monli slapped her thigh in anger. Chapter 132. While the two were arguing, there was a sound of the door opening and closing. Lang Su came back. What are you guys talking about? Lang Su saw that the family was all red in the face and seemed to be arguing, so he couldn't help but ask out of curiosity. No, nothing. Yang Jingwan's gaze was evasive. Oh, so it's our family's big shot, Li Monli said sarcastically. Didn't you say you could invite Ma Hongsheng over? Where is he now? Where is he? Hearing this, a slightly depressed expression appeared on Lang Su's face as he said calmly, I went to the hospital. Ma Hongsheng hasn't woken up yet, so I can't call him over for the time being. Ding! The host manipulated behind the scenes and destroyed the opportunity for the protagonist Lang Su to show off to the female lead Yang Jingwan's family. Received 300 villain points. Lang Su protagonist aura -15. Host villain aura +15. You really have a lot of excuses. You're so good at lying, Li Monli said in disdain. Mom, I'll go again tomorrow. I'll definitely help with Dad's project. Stop bragging. Hurry up and cook, we're all hungry. Li Monli urged him angrily. Seeing Li Monli's expression, Lang Su was too lazy to argue and went straight to the kitchen to cook. Anyway, as long as Ma Hongsheng woke up, he would introduce some people to get the project and put the facts in front of Li Monli. At that time, Li Monli would naturally shut up. Thinking of this, Lang Su ran to the kitchen to cook without saying a word. Jingwan, you saw it, right? It's fine that Lang Su is trash, but he loves to brag. Li Monli lowered her voice and said to her daughter, You should hurry up and think of a way out. If your dad's project team can't get a job, it will be disbanded. Your dad borrowed a lot of money. If he can't get the project, he might even have to sell this apartment to pay off the debt. If you don't want to sleep on the streets, You should consider my suggestion. After speaking, Li Monli shut up. She wanted her daughter to think quietly. Yang Jingwan was silent. Her mind was in a mess. Unknowingly, Lang Su had finished cooking. The family began to eat. While eating, Yang Jingwan was absent-minded. She casually ate a mouthful of rice and didn't eat. He went back to his room and closed the door. In the end, Yang Jingwan picked up her phone and found Wang Haoran's number. She was about to call him. Wife. Su Lang's voice came from outside the door. Yang Jingwan was so shocked that her phone fell to the ground. She hurriedly picked up her phone and went to open the door. Can't you lower your voice when you knock? What's the matter? You don't seem to have any appetite. Are you feeling unwell? Su Lang asked with a tender expression. I'm on a diet. I just don't want to eat. Yang Jingwan casually made up an excuse. Wife, your figure's already perfect. You don't need to lose weight. You should go down and eat more. Su Lang advised earnestly. You're so annoying. I already said I'm not eating, Yang Jingwan said impatiently. She just wanted to chase Su Lang away. I'm going to take a shower now. Why aren't you leaving? Right away. Su Lang nodded and went downstairs obediently. He was not angry about this, because he wanted to give her the greatest tolerance and love in the world. That year, he's 12. She's 8 years old. He lived on the streets and was on the verge of starving to death. She was kind and gave him a mouthful of rice. He survived. 12 years later, he became the god of war and was famous. Then, he chose to retire at such a glorious moment. He didn't forget the kindness of a meal back then. He came back. He came back to find her, although she didn't remember giving a bowl of rice to a little beggar. But it was enough that he remembered. He found her, and he got one of his subordinates to pretend to be a fortune teller and deceive Yang Jingwan's parents. He got Yang Jingwan to marry him. Selfish? No. In his opinion, he was the most outstanding man in the world. She would only be happy if she married him. This was the best home for her. He wanted to protect her. He wanted to protect her for the rest of his life. However, he didn't want to reveal his identity, because he didn't want to have any interests mixed in their relationship. He wanted pure love. Therefore, he wanted to use his identity as an ordinary person to win her love. In the past year, Su Lang had suffered a lot from the Yang family, but he still silently endured and hid himself. He wanted to use his sincerity to move Yang Jingwan. But recently, Yang Tai's career had some problems, and Li Monli was mocking him. So Su Lang decided to make an exception and use his connections to help Yang Tai. That was why the cocktail party happened. But who knew that at the cocktail party, Ma Hongshang suddenly fainted before he even saw him. But it didn't matter. It was just a matter of waiting a little longer. After Su Lang left, Yang Jingwan immediately called Wang Haoran. But the waiting tone only rang a few times before the other party hung up. Yang Jingwan didn't dare to continue calling. She heard that those rich young masters had a rich nightlife. Presumably, Wang Haoran was no exception. He might be doing something big at this time. Yang Jingwan threw these complicated thoughts aside for the time being. She picked up her clothes and went to the bathroom to take a shower. She looked at her almost perfect self in the mirror and couldn't help but sigh. Why was her life so hard when she had such good conditions to marry someone like Su Lang? After taking a shower, Yang Jingwan went back to bed. She played with her phone while waiting for Wang Haoran's call. Time quietly passed by, and Yang Jingwan was sleepy. Suddenly, her phone vibrated. Yang Jingwan woke up and looked at the caller ID. It was Wang Haoran. But wasn't it too long ago? Young Master Wang took so long to do something big. That's ridiculous. What am I thinking? Yang Jingwan quickly shook off the strange thoughts in her mind and picked up the call. You're calling me so soon? Wang Haoran's words had a deeper meaning. Yang Jingwan was embarrassed. After taking a deep breath, she said shamelessly, Didn't you say today that if I need any help, I can look for you? My dad has an engineering team that wants to take on a project. So, I want to ask if you have any connections in this area that you can introduce me to. Of course I do, but it's not convenient to talk about it over the phone. Let's meet outside. Hearing Wang Haoran's words, Yang Jingwan suddenly hesitated and asked tentatively, Then where should we meet? She had already made up her mind. If Wang Haoran chose to meet somewhere like a hotel, she would never go. Do you know where Waterluster High School is? We'll meet there at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Hearing Wang Haoren's words, Yang Jingwan's suspicions were reduced by half, and she immediately agreed. Okay, then it's settled. See you tomorrow. Chapter 133. In the afternoon, the sun was shining brightly, just like Tang Bingyun's mood. Tang Bingyun took advantage of the afternoon's leisure time to drive outside. While driving, she inadvertently came to the entrance of Waterluster High School. Tang Bingyun was in a dilemma. Since I'm already here, why not? Should I ask him out to talk to me? No. What should I say when I see him? I wonder if he found out about what happened that night. If he found out, how should I face him? Forget it. I'll find a suitable opportunity to talk to him about this. Tang Bingyun put away the distracting thoughts in her mind and prepared to drive away. But at this moment, she saw Wang Haoren coming out of the school gate. He seemed to be waiting for someone. Tang Bingyun parked her car in the distance and looked at Wang Haoren from afar. About a minute later, a taxi stopped in front of the school gate. A beautiful woman with a good figure got out of the car. This beautiful woman was naturally Yang Jingwan. Hello, young Master Wang. Yang Jingwan squeezed out a smile and greeted Wang Haoren. Wang Haoren did not immediately reply, but subconsciously looked at her. She was wearing a light purple long dress and high heels. Her long hair was fluttering in the wind. Her face was carefully touched up with makeup. Her beauty was indescribable. Yang Jingwan averted her gaze, not daring to look at Wang Haoren. She originally wanted to come without makeup, but before she went out, Li Monli saw her and put on makeup, then helped her to match her clothes. After dressing up, she was even more eye-catching than at the cocktail party. There's a milk tea shop over there. Let's go there and sit. Wang Haoren stopped looking at her and pointed at a milk tea shop sign in the distance. Okay. Yang Jingwan nodded. The two came to the milk tea shop. Wang Haoren ordered a cup of Mandarin duck milk tea, as usual, then looked at Yang Jingwan. What do you want to drink? Anything. Then 2 cups of Mandarin duck milk tea will do, Wang Haoren said casually. Yang Jingwan didn't care what she drank, so she didn't object. The two of them went to an empty seat in the milk tea shop and sat down. The pairs of young men and women around him looked rather young and inexperienced. Judging from their appearances, they were obviously still students. Yang Jingwan felt like she didn't fit in. Many people were looking at her strangely. Yang Jingwan was a little reserved. While waiting for the milk tea, she didn't say anything. She kept her head down in silence. Wang Haoren naturally wouldn't say anything. Yang Jingwan was here to ask for his help. There was no reason for him to be the first to speak. If she didn't want to speak, then he might as well just waste time like this. Wang Haoren wanted to see how long Yang Jingwan could endure. Soon, the milk tea was ready. By the time Wang Haoren finished half a cup of milk tea, Yang Jingwan couldn't help but say, "Young Master Wang, can you help with the project? Keep this well." Wang Haoren handed over the business card that he had prepared beforehand. This is? Yang Jingwan asked in surprise. The business card of the person in charge of a real estate developer. Let your father take this business card to him. The person in charge will naturally arrange a project for your father. Qin Kai was the biggest real estate developer in Qingling. He had a lot of land that he was preparing to develop and build. After talking to Yang Jingwan, Wang Haoren didn't hesitate to ask Qin Kai for help. Qin Yunhan was very obedient to Wang Haoren. Qin Kai only had one daughter. All the wealth in the future would definitely be left to Qin Yunhan. Qin Yunhan was already his. Qin Yunhan's wealth naturally belonged to Wang Haoren. Wang Haoren obviously wouldn't be polite to Qin Kai. Of course, Qin Kai only vaguely knew that his daughter and Wang Haoren were very close. He didn't know how far they had progressed. Otherwise, Qin Kai probably wouldn't be nice to Wang Haoren. Yang Jingwan was very surprised by Wang Haoren's straightforwardness. At the same time, she was a little nervous. "Thank you, young Master Wang. Thank you. If you don't feel comfortable here, you can leave now," Wang Haoren said. "Just leave." Yang Jingwan thought she heard wrong. "What else do you want me to do to you?" Wang Haoren looked at Yang Jingwan playfully. Even if he didn't solve the project himself, Su Lang would definitely ask for help. He obviously couldn't give Su Lang this opportunity to show off. It wasn't that Wang Haoren hadn't thought about forcing Yang Jingwan into a corner. However, He was afraid that Yang Jingwan would overreact and leave in a fit of anger. That would give Su Lang an opportunity to take advantage of the situation. Since that was the case, he might as well help Yang Jingwan. Thank you. I will remember this favor, Yang Jingwan said sincerely. Ding. The female lead Yang Jingwan's affability towards the host has increased by 10. Current affability, 20, very friendly. Ding. The host has influenced the plot. Received 200 villain points. Ding. The host intercepted the main character Su Lang and helped the female lead Yang Jingwan's father solve his financial crisis. Received 200 villain points. Su Lang's protagonist aura -10. Host's anti-protagonist aura +10. After receiving the system notification, Wang Haoran's heart skipped a beat. As expected, the female lead was generally kind-hearted. If someone treated her well without asking for anything in return, she would definitely give something in return. A single project had earned him 10 points from Yang Jingwan's affability and also earned him villain points. This was a good deal. Most importantly, now that he had a good start with Yang Jingwan would let down her guard, and it would be easier for him to interact with her in the future. This was called casting a long line to catch a big fish. If you want me to help you with anything, as long as it's within my ability, I can help you. Yang Jingwan felt a bit embarrassed to accept Wang Haoran's help for nothing, so she said this. What do you do for a living? Wang Haoran took the opportunity to ask. I work at the Qin Real Estate. I'm a normal salesperson who sells houses. Yang Jingwan felt a bit inferior and replied in a small voice. A salesperson who sells houses? This position was very easy to be bullied and bullied. According to the female lead's personality that easily attracted trouble, Yang Jingwan's position would definitely trigger some plot. It seemed like he needed to do something about it. A thought flashed through Wang Haoran's mind before he responded to Yang Jingwan's previous words. If I want to buy a house one day, help me introduce a good house to a good one. That'll be my repayment. Yang Jingwan froze. Buy a house at her place? This didn't seem like she was helping him. On the contrary, he was helping her. If Yang Jingwan bought a house, she would receive a lot of sales commission. I took the day off today. I still have to go to work in the afternoon. Yang Jingwan suddenly said after she snapped back to reality. Go ahead then. Wang Haoran didn't try to keep her. Okay. Yang Jingwan smiled and nodded at Wang Haoran. She then picked up her untouched cup of milk tea and hailed a taxi at the entrance of the milk tea shop. Holding the warm milk tea, she got into the taxi. She was a bit excited and a bit relieved. Before she came, she didn't expect things to go so smoothly. She took out her phone and couldn't wait to share this good news with her parents. Chapter 134. After leaving the milk tea shop, Wang Haoran prepared to go back to school. At this time, a car from the police station suddenly stopped at the door. A valiant beauty got out of the car. Who else could it be other than Ling Duanya? I didn't expect to see you here. I was just looking for you. Ling Duanya smiled at Wang Haoran. Why are you looking for me? I didn't do anything. Wang Haoran teased. Didn't you make a call to report before? Because of your call, we've successfully captured a large group of criminals. As she spoke, Ling Duanya took out a small bundle of rectangular objects wrapped in yellow paper from the car. This is the reward for reporting. It's a total of 50,000 yuan. You deserve it. What about the reward? Wang Haoran gladly accepted it. By the way, we also plan to do an interview with the TV station to set a public example. Are you willing to appear on camera? Forget it. I don't want to be famous. Wang Haoran shook his head. Since you don't want to, I won't force you. How's your leg? Wang Haoran thought of something and glanced at Ling Duanya's long legs. Some time ago, he had already given the medicine to Ling Duanya. He didn't know if Ling Duanya used it according to his instructions. I feel much better after taking your medicine. Speaking of which, I have to thank you properly. When I'm free and you're free, I'll definitely treat you to a meal. Ling Duanya raised her hand and patted Wang Haoran's shoulder as she spoke in a carefree manner. Okay, I'll wait for your treat. I still have something to do, so I'll leave first. Ling Duanya laughed heartily, returned to the car, and left in a hurry. As soon as Ling Duanya left, Tang Bingyu swayed her slim waist and walked over from the opposite road. Annie Tang, why are you here? Wang Haoran pretended that nothing had happened on the surface. I had nothing to do at noon, so I was just walking around outside. I saw you when I passed by here, so I came over to say hello, Tang Bingyun said calmly. In fact, she didn't plan to meet Wang Haoran, but just now she secretly saw two beautiful women talking and laughing with Wang Haoran. This bad boy was surrounded by so many beauties all day long. If she didn't show her face in front of him, he might forget about her. With that thought in mind, Tang Bingyun could not help but walk over. When I woke up that day, I was already in bed. My head was dizzy and my body felt a little uncomfortable. What happened? Wang Haoran asked indirectly. Tang Bingyun's eyes flashed with a look of panic, but she quickly concealed it. You still have a nerve to say that. Your alcohol tolerance is really bad. You just drank a little red wine and you got drunk. I couldn't wake you up no matter what. I couldn't let you sleep at the dining table, right? So, I could only move you from the dining room on the first floor to the room on the second floor. I'm so tired. My waist almost broke. Tang Bingyun said resentfully. What she said was half true and half false. However, Tang Bingyun felt that Wang Haoran should not understand the meaning behind her words. So that's the case. Wang Haoran pretended to be enlightened and then asked again, then why is the sheet gone? Weren't you drunk at that time? You vomited on the sheet. So I took the sheet and threw it into the trash can, Tang Bingyun explained. Wang Haoran said, oh, indicating that he understood and had no more questions. In fact, he had almost guessed it. He wasn't drunk at all, so it was impossible for him to vomit. However, the sheet was dirty and Tang Bingyun took it away. This should be true. Night. Su Lang returned to his apartment in a rather happy mood. The home was dark and empty. Yang Jingwan's family didn't seem to be back yet. Su Lang wasn't in a hurry. He sat on the sofa and watched TV, waiting for them to come back. Ma Hongsheng had already woken up. Although he was still lying in the hospital and was recuperating, his consciousness had completely recovered. Su Lang got some connections from Ma Hongsheng. The project was settled. Su Lang planned to wait for Yang Jingwan and the others to come back and give them a big surprise. Jingwan, I told you to go, didn't I? I told you to go, so you did. Look, it only took one trip to get the project done, and you weren't even taken advantage of. Li Monli was in a great mood. I was quite surprised, too. I thought he would make some outrageous demands of me. Yang Jingwan said happily. In my opinion, young Master Wang isn't a playboy. He's really interested in you. That's why he's so polite to you. You have to seize this opportunity. If you can really get along well with young Master Wang, you'll have to take advantage of it. If you really get along with young Master Wang, you might have the chance to marry into a rich family. This is great news. Mom and Dad can enjoy life with you. Li Monli looked forward to it happily. Mom, don't talk nonsense. At most, this is my second marriage. Can someone like me marry into a rich family? Yang Jingwan said unhappily. Although it's your second marriage, you and Su Lang are only husband and wife in name. There's no actual relationship. Why can't you marry into a rich family? Li Monli was a typical idealist. On the other hand, Yang Jingwan was the opposite. She was realistic. From what she could see, marriages in rich families were all about matching in social status. What Li Monli said was simply impossible. Most importantly, Yang Jingwan only thought that Wang Haoran was handsome. She didn't have any romantic feelings for him. Today is a great day. Why are you two arguing about this? Let's add a few more dishes tonight to celebrate, Yang Tai said. As they spoke, the family arrived outside the apartment. I've taken care of the project. Seeing that Yang Jingwan and her family had returned, Su Lang calmly revealed a piece of news. He then waited for Yang Jingwan and her family to reveal an expression of shock and surprise. Why are you still sitting here? Look at the time. Hurry up and cook. Remember to add a few more dishes. Li Monli stopped smiling and said to Su Lang fiercely, You've been doing nothing all day long. Now you're not even cooking. Do you not want to stay in this house anymore? Yang Tai said, How am I not doing anything? I want to see Ma Hongsheng today. The project has already been solved. Su Lang raised his voice to emphasize. You've been doing this every day. Will you die if you don't brag? Li Monli sneered. I'm not bragging. If you don't believe me, I can make a call. Su Lang pulled out an old phone that was worth a few hundred yuan. Keep pretending. Li Monli's face was full of disdain. You should obediently go cook. I don't need a talkative person like you to help with the project. I've already received a project. If it's completed, I'll be able to earn at least 10 million, Yang Tai said. Dad, where did you get such a big project? Su Lang asked. What do you mean? Are you looking down on me? Why can't I receive a big project? Yang Tai didn't want to tell Su Lang that Yang Jingwan had privately asked a rich man for help, so he wanted to take over the project himself. However, Su Lang's face was full of doubt. Yang Tai felt that he was being looked down on, so he was unhappy. Chapter 135. That's not what I meant. Su Lang shook his head. If that's not what you meant, then shut up and go cook. We're all hungry, Yang Tai urged. Hurry up, Li Monli said with a mean face. Go, we haven't eaten yet. We're all hungry, Yang Jingwan said. Previously, Su Lang was ridiculed by the sarcastic Li Monli. He really couldn't stand it anymore, so he asked Ma Hongsheng to hold a banquet. His goal was to reveal his identity as a part of Iceberg so that Li Monli would be more polite to him in the future. But because Ma Hongsheng suddenly fainted, Su Lang's plan was ruined. Then, Ma Hongsheng used his connections to get a project, but Yang Tai found one himself. It was a waste of effort. After thinking about it, Su Lang decided to maintain his original intention. He would continue to use the identity of a normal person to get along with Yang Jingwan's family. If he really wanted to help Yang Jingwan's family, it would be better to do it in secret. I'll go cook now, Su Lang responded to Yang Jingwan's family and immediately ran to the kitchen. Ding! The host manipulated behind the scenes and caused the main character, Su Lang, to fail in showing off to the female lead, Yang Jingwan's family. Gained 300 villain points. Su Lang's protagonist aura -15. Host villain aura +15. Wang Haoran, who was busy with his work, subconsciously froze when he received the system notification. He was busy right now, so he didn't listen to Yang Jingwan's movements. However, judging from the system notification, it should be a chain reaction caused by him poisoning Ma Hongsheng. Ma Hongsheng was a supporting character in the main character's camp and was of great help to Su Lang. Now that there was a problem, Su Lang would inevitably be affected. What's wrong? Fang Xian looked up at him with a red face and couldn't help but ask. Nothing. Wang Haoran shook his head and continued to busy himself. But this time, as he busied himself, he picked up his headphones and listened to Yang Jingwan's movements. Su Lang was quite good at cooking, so he quickly finished cooking. While Yang Jingwan was eating, the sales manager of the real estate department suddenly called her. The sales manager was her direct superior. She was an old woman in her 50s. In private, her colleagues called the sales manager an old witch. This was because the sales manager's subordinates were very nasty. They scolded people for no reason and even suppressed the sales staff under them. This was because the promotion of the sales department was mainly based on performance. The old witch relied on her background. In order to strengthen her position, she would think of ways to get rid of any salesperson who performed well. His subordinates were angry, but they didn't dare to say anything. Of course, Yang Jingwan's sales weren't good. In fact, they were bad. Something bad must have happened for the old witch to call him at this hour. It was almost the end of the month. Her performance for this month was 0. Yang Jingwan picked up her phone and went back to her room to answer the call. Yang Jingwan, what are you doing? Why did you take so long to pick up the phone? As soon as the call went through, the old hag's roar could be heard. Yang Jingwan could even imagine the old witch's spittle flying everywhere as she cursed. She was glad that she was not in front of the old witch. Otherwise, her face would be covered in her saliva. Manager Yu, what's the matter? Yang Jingwan asked nervously. The old witch's full name was Yu Yan. Don't you know what's the matter? Look at how many days are left in the month. Look at your terrible performance for this month. Yu Yan continued to roar. There are 3 days left in the month. I will try my best to achieve the performance target in these 3 days, Yang Jingwan said hurriedly. I'll give you 3 days. If your performance for this month is 0, then you can pack up and leave. My performance for last month exceeded the quota. According to the rules of the sales department, you can only fire me if my performance for the next month is still 0, Yang Jingwan retorted. My words are the rules. If your performance for this month is 0, then you can leave. One of Yu Yan's relatives also wanted to work in the sales department. However, the sales department was full, unless someone wanted to leave. Yu Yan looked at the performance of her subordinates and decided to fire Yang Jingwan, who had the worst performance for this month. Manager Yu, you're being too unreasonable. Yang Jingwan couldn't take it anymore. In front of me, you only talk about performance. You don't talk about reason. You have such good capital. Why don't you learn from Cece? Look at her. Her looks and figure aren't as good as yours. But she used her advantage as a woman and sold a total of 8 houses this month. Yu Yan educated Yang Jingwan. There's still 3 days left in the month. Relax a little. Accompany the clients for drinks and karaoke. Your performance will definitely come. Yu Yan only wanted to fire the one with the worst performance. If Yang Jingwan's performance could improve, then there would be no need to fire her. After all, Yang Jingwan's appearance was really good. She could be the face of the sales department. Many male clients even looked at Yang Jingwan because of her. Unfortunately, Yang Jingwan didn't know how to use her advantage. What a waste of such a good investment. Manager Yu, I'm here to sell houses. I'm not here to accompany clients. Yang Jingwan refused. She had her own bottom line. She would rather not sell a house than show off her beauty in exchange for performance like her colleague Cece. Then just wait and get the hell out. Manager Yu saw that he couldn't get through to her, so he angrily hung up the phone. Yang Jingwan threw her phone on the bed and lay down weakly. She had been busy for 27 days this month and hadn't sold a single house. It was almost impossible to sell a house in the remaining 3 days, unless she asked for help. Looking at the people around her, the only person Yang Jingwan could think of right now was Wang Haoren. However, Wang Haoren had already helped her a lot with the project. She hadn't even returned the favor, and now she was going to ask him for help? Yang Jingwan couldn't bring herself to do that. Thinking of this, she sighed again about her sad fate. If only she had married an outstanding husband. How good would that have been? Perhaps he could have helped her at a critical moment. Why did God play tricks on her and let her marry a piece of trash like Su Lang? Sigh, outside the door. Su Lang heard the entire process of Yang Jingwan's phone call. He liked Yang Jingwan more and more. His taste was right. Yang Jingwan's personality was too good. She wasn't blinded by money and could stick to her bottom line. A woman like this was worthy of his love. Honey, let's finish the phone call. Let's eat in the afternoon. Su Lang walked in from outside the door. We agreed that you weren't allowed to enter the room. Why did you come in? Get out. Yang Jingwan was already annoyed. After seeing Su Lang, she became even more annoyed. I know you're worried about work. Maybe things will turn around. Don't worry. Su Lang quickly retreated. He stood at the door and comforted Yang Jingwan. I just want to be alone right now. Leave. Yang Jingwan couldn't hear Su Lang's comforting words at all. I can leave, but you haven't finished eating. You should go down and eat. Otherwise, you'll be hungry tonight, Su Lang gently persuaded. You're so annoying. Can you leave? Yang Jingwan lost her patience, and her tone became a little bad. Be good and go eat. I won't bother you. Su Lang maintained a smile. I'll leave. Okay. Yang Jingwan was so angry that she couldn't do anything. She angrily left the room and gave Su Lang a look of disgust. Su Lang didn't care. He believed that his gentleness would one day move Yang Jingwan. Chapter 136. Su Lang made a call to Ma Hongsheng. Help me do something. The call went through. Su Lang put away his gentleness towards Yang Jingwan and returned to his original indifferent expression. This was the true side of the god of war. Other than Yang Jingwan, everyone else in the world was like an ant in his eyes. Lord God of War, please give me your orders. Ma Hongsheng was still lying on the hospital bed and needed to rest. His voice was weak. My wife works in a real estate sales department. Arrange for some people to buy a house from her, but don't reveal that I'm helping her. Yes, Lord God of War. I'll arrange for people to pretend to be normal customers and buy a house. Ma Hongsheng accepted the order happily. The house he bought could be used as a year-end bonus for the company. It wouldn't be wasted anyway. Plus, it was an honor to be able to help Lord God of War. Ma Hongsheng had no reason to refuse. However, he was still a bit confused, so he asked, Lord God of War, she's already your wife. Why are you still hiding your identity? Do I need you to teach me how to do things? Su Lang humphed coldly. He wanted to use his identity as a normal person to influence Yang Jingwan and win her heart, not as the god of war. However, Su Lang wasn't going to explain this to Ma Hongsheng. Lord God of War, I was wrong. I shouldn't have asked. Ma Hongsheng was shocked and said humbly, just do what I told you to do. Don't worry about things that you shouldn't worry about, Su Lang warned again. Yes, I'll do what you told me to do immediately. Tomorrow morning, someone will go buy a house from your wife, Lord God of War, Ma Hongsheng quickly said. No wonder he's the god of war. He's so pretentious, Wang Haoran secretly complained. He monitored Yang Jingwan's phone, but when Yang Jingwan left in a huff, she didn't take her phone with her. He heard everything that Su Lang said on the phone. When he heard that Su Lang wanted to secretly help Yang Jingwan, Wang Haoran silently gave him a thumbs up. Since Su Lang wanted to hide it, then he'll let him hide it. This would make things easier for Wang Haoran. What are you doing in front of my room? Get out. After leaving, Yang Jingwan realized she had forgotten to bring her phone, so she turned back to get it. When he saw that Su Lang was still standing at the door, he said to him in annoyance, Let's go. Su Lang left obediently. Buzz. Just as Su Lang left, Yang Jingwan's phone suddenly rang. It was a video call from Wang Haoran. Yang Jingwan was overjoyed. She was afraid that Su Lang would eavesdrop on her call, so she quickly locked the door. After doing all this, she stealthily answered the video call. The video call connected. On the other end of the phone, Wang Haoran was wearing a nightgown. Looking at the decoration style of the background, it seemed a bit like a hotel. Young Master Wang, are you in a hotel? Yang Jingwan couldn't help but ask. I never spend the night in a hotel. I'm at home, Wang Haoran replied seriously. Hearing this, Fang Xian and Wen Jing couldn't help but roll their eyes. Yang Jingwan nodded her head and didn't ask any more questions. Miss Yang, how's the project going? Wang Haoran suddenly asked. It's done. My dad signed the contract. Yang Jingwan looked at the camera and said gratefully to Wang Haoran. That's good. Wang Haoran nodded his head and said, You're frowning. You don't look happy. What's wrong? No, nothing. Yang Jingwan couldn't bring herself to ask Wang Haoran to help her solve her work problem again, so she didn't say anything. There are only two reasons why a woman is unhappy. One is her career, and the other is her family. Miss Yang, is it the former or the latter? Wang Haoran already knew, but it was too sudden to say it out loud. Hearing this, Yang Jingwan was a little surprised. Young Master Wang was quite observant. He must be someone who paid attention to details in his life. If someone was to be his girlfriend, that person must be very happy. It's because of work, Yang Jingwan replied after hearing what Wang Haoran said. I remember you said you were a salesperson selling houses. Is it because your performance this month wasn't good enough? I happen to know some friends who want to buy houses. Where's your workplace? I'll introduce them to you tomorrow, Wang Haoran said straightforwardly. The only reason he dared to say this was because he heard Su Lang instruct Ma Hongsheng to send someone to pretend that the house was normal. Since that was the case, the person sent to sell the house wouldn't reveal the identity of the person behind the scenes. If he told Yang Jingwan in advance, she would definitely think that he was the one who sent the person. Are you serious? Yang Jingwan asked in shock. Of course I'm serious. You just did me a big favor, and now I'm troubling you again. How could I accept this? Yang Jingwan said in a daze. We're friends. What's there to be embarrassed about? That's it, bye. Wang Haoran said firmly and hung up the phone without waiting for Yang Jingwan to refuse. After hanging up the phone, Wang Haoran made a call. Night. In a teacher's dorm. Sister Yunhan, it's late. Why don't you wash up and go to bed? Mu Zhaozhao looked lazy and sleepy as she looked at the homework in front of her. She tilted her head and spoke to Qin Yunhan. It's not even 12 yet. Do some more homework. Qin Yunhan did her homework seriously and occasionally took a bite of the papaya on the table. Sister Yunhan, what's wrong with you? Why are you suddenly studying so hard? Mu Zhaozhao was surprised. The college entrance exam is in less than a month. If I don't work hard now, when will I work hard? Qin Yunhan lectured her like an old woman. Why do you need to work hard? You've been at the peak of life since you were born. Plus, your grades are pretty good. You can easily get into a university, right? I'm preparing to enter Qing Ling University. My grades aren't stable yet, so I still need to work hard. Why do you want to enter Qing Ling University all of a sudden? Mu Zhao asked curiously. It's the best university in Qing Ling. I don't want to study elsewhere, so of course I want to enter Qing Ling University. Qin Yunhan lied and then commanded Mu Zhao. Get into Qing Ling University for me too. That way, we can be in the same school again. It's so easy to get into Qing Ling University. Do I still need to work hard? Mu Zhao also didn't want to be separated from Qin Yunhan, but she didn't feel any pressure to get into Qing Ling University. Huffed. Qin Yunhan couldn't help but spit when she saw her best friend's smug look. Although Mu Zhao's behavior was a little brainless and her EQ was extremely low, her IQ was still pretty good. Her grades were better than hers. Sister Yunhan, you're so unhygienic. Your saliva is all over my face. Mu Zhao pouted and protested. Let's see if you're still smug. Qin Yunhan made a face. Forget it, Sister Yunhan. You're young, so I'll let you have it. Mu Zhao said generously, but her eyes glanced below Qin Yunhan's neck. Obviously, there was a hidden meaning in her words. I'll strangle you to death. When Qin Yunhan saw her like this, how could she not understand what she meant? She immediately went crazy and pounced at Mu Zhao with bared fangs and brandished claws. Chapter 137. The two of them laughed and played for a while. Suddenly, Qin Kai called, Dad, why are you calling me so late at night? Qin Yunhan stopped playing and answered the phone. Yunhan, why are you still living on campus? Why don't you go back to the villa? Qin Kai asked on the phone. Qin Kai had sent people to look for Xiao Yifeng for a few days, but they couldn't find him. After that, he didn't continue to look for him. In his opinion, Xiao Yifeng probably felt that he couldn't protect him, so he chose to leave without saying goodbye. Otherwise, based on Xiao Yifeng's ability, who would be able to kidnap him? Someone else lived there. I won't live there. Qin Yunhan curled her lips. The villa had been lived in by Xiao Yifeng. Qin Yunhan felt that it was dirty. She would never go back to that villa. She didn't even want any of the clothes there. After all, Xiao Yifeng had lived there for a while. Who knew if this perverted guy didn't touch their clothes? I'll buy another villa near the school for you to live in, Qin Kai said. No, I'll live on campus. I won't live there for long anyway. You don't have to waste money. Qin Yunhan refused. Hearing this, Qin Kai was stunned. His willful and delicate daughter actually knew how to save money. In fact, Qin Yunhan chose to live on campus, not because she wanted to save money, but because she wanted to spend more time with Wang Haoren. For example, she could ask him to tutor her at night. Thinking about it, it was quite romantic. If she lived in the villa, Li Bo would drive her to and from school every day. Qin Kai would also visit her from time to time. It would be very inconvenient. As for Mu Zhao, the third wheel in the dormitory, it was also very simple. Before Qin Yunhan asked Wang Haoren to come over, she would definitely urge Mu Zhao to go home. Anyway, Mu Zhao's house was not far from here. Up to you then. If you change your mind, let me know. Also, what do you want to buy? Qin Kai was concerned about his daughter. He was ready to give her a long lecture so that she could take care of herself. Okay. You're so naggy. If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. Qin Yunhan impatiently interrupted Qin Kai. Well, then Dad won't disturb your rest. Qin Kai's tone was full of doting. Qin Yunhan hung up the phone and threw it aside. Sister Yunhan, your personality is really bad. You're so rude to Uncle Qin. Mu Zhao heard the conversation between the two and could not help but interrupt. My personality has always been like this. What's wrong? Is there a problem? Qin Yunhan did not think there was anything wrong. It's not a big problem. I just feel sad for your future husband. With your bad temper, your husband will definitely be punished by you to kneel on the washboard every 2 to 3 days. How miserable. Mu Zhao sighed. I also have a gentle and sweet side. Okay. Qin Yunhan retorted. Sister Yunhan, I've known you for more than 10 years. Do you think I'll believe such words? Mu Zhao rolled her eyes at Qin Yunhan. It's okay if you don't believe me. Qin Yunhan grabbed a handful of clothes and threw it at Mu Zhao's face. Hurry up and take your shower. I still have to take a shower after you're done. I I can finally rest. Mu Zhaozhao felt relaxed and ran to the shower with a smile. Looking at the time, Qin Yunhan did not continue to do her homework. She picked up the unfinished papaya on the table and prepared to finish it. During this period, she ate at least one papaya every day, hoping to nourish her body. If I can be more perfect, he will definitely like me more, right? Qin Yunhan was secretly happy. At this moment, the phone rang again. It was Wang Haoran. I was just thinking about you, and you called. Is this what you call telepathy? Qin Yunhan smiled sweetly. Isn't Mu Zhaozhao next to you? Hearing Qin Yunhan's tone, Wang Haoran could not help but ask. She's taking a shower in the shower. She's not next to me. Qin Yunhan did not tell her best friend about her and Wang Haoran for the time being. I need to do something. I want to borrow your name as the eldest daughter of the Qin group. Wang Haoran talked about business. Okay. Qin Yunhan agreed directly. You don't even ask the reason. Aren't you afraid that I'll sell you? Are you willing to? Qin Yunhan smiled. I'm not willing to. Wang Haoran responded immediately. Qin Yunhan was so beautiful and the only heir of a billion-dollar group. The key was that she was so loyal to him. Only a fool would sell her. That's all right. It's late. Go to sleep. Let's not talk anymore. I still want to talk to you. Qin Yunhan said coquettishly. It's good for your skin to sleep early. Be good and rest. Well, okay. Good night. Love you. Qin Yunhan nodded obediently and made a heart in the air. Fortunately, Mu Zhaozhao was not here. If she saw Qin Yunhan's gentle and sweet appearance, she might think that Qin Yunhan was sick. Good night. I love you too. After Wang Haoran finished chatting with Qin Yunhan, he opened the attribute panel and looked at it. Unknowingly, he had accumulated a total of 12,000 villain points. If he used 12,000 villain points to exchange for skill, he would be able to exchange for 24 years of skill. If he converted it to combat power, he would be able to increase it by 1080. Wang Haoran's current combat power was already 1099. There was no need to exchange all his villain points for skill and push his combat power above 2,000. This was because Su Lang's normal combat power was 1,000. With the bonus from War God's Wrath, he could only reach 1,200 at most. Wang Haoran only spent 3,000 villain points to exchange for 6 years of skill and pushed his combat power to 1369. This combat power was enough to crush Su Lang in a normal duel. There was no need to increase his combat power. This was because the invincible War God skill was too shameless. When he was hit by a fatal blow, he would be invincible for an hour and could even activate the instant kill state. A combat power of 1369 was definitely enough for Wang Haoran at the moment. Although the invincible War God was shameless, fortunately, he was passive. The initiative was still in Wang Haoran's hands. Wang Haoran currently had 2 ideas. The first idea was to assassinate Su Lang and activate Su Lang's invincible War God passive. Then, while Su Lang's invincible War God skill was on cooldown, he would finish him off in 1 round. However, this method was a bit dangerous. This was because Wang Haoran wasn't sure if he could escape from Su Lang after activating the invincible and instant kill state. The second idea was to boil the frog in warm water. He would constantly wear down Su Lang's protagonist aura points. When Su Lang's protagonist aura points dropped to 0, the protagonist aura would naturally shatter. Could a war god who lost the protagonist aura still be called a war god? It would be a piece of cake to deal with him now. In comparison, Wang Haoran was more willing to choose the second option. Although this method was a bit slower, it was much safer. The key to boiling the frog in warm water was the female lead, Yang Jingwan, as well as Ma Hongsheng and other key supporting characters in the protagonist camp. Among them, the female lead, Yang Jingwan, was the most important. He had to put more effort into her. Chapter 138. There were still 9,000 villain points left. Wang Haoran checked the system store and prepared to spend some money. Not long after, he saw something that caught his eye. Charm Aura. Passive. Permanently increases charm by 300 points. Active. Use on the female lead to permanently increase the favorability of the female lead to the host by 10 points. used on female characters other than the female, lead to increase the favorability of the female character to 100 points. Cooldown time is 72 hours. Price, 8,800 villain points. It was really expensive. However, Wong Howren remembered that Su Lang had a skill called War God's Might, which could also increase charm. After using it, coupled with his own charm, it could temporarily increase his charm to 375. Wong Howren's current charm of 268 would allow him to gain the favor of many women. If Su Lang used this skill to temporarily increase his charm to 375, he would definitely charm thousands of young girls and young women. Of course, the premise of using War God's Might was to reveal his identity as War God. With Su Lang's current low-key attitude, he wouldn't reveal his War God identity and use the skill, War God's Might, as a supervillain. How could Wong Howren tolerate the protagonist having a higher charm than himself? He immediately spent 8,800 villain points to exchange for a charm aura. At the same time, the charm attribute in the attribute panel also directly increased to 568. Early morning, in a certain sales department of a chain group, Yang Jingwan came to work on time. As soon as she entered the sales department, she saw the old Witch Yu Yan. Yang Jingwan, if you can't sell a house today, you can pack up and leave. Do you hear me? Yu Yan said in a commanding tone. Isn't it 3 days? Yang Jingwan was shocked. I changed my mind, can't I? If I say today, then it's today. Yu Yan snorted coldly and then walked into the real estate sales department. This is too much. Yang Jingwan stomped her feet angrily. After she woke up early in the morning, she was in a good mood. After Yu Yan's disturbance, all her good mood was gone. Young Master Wang seemed to have said yesterday that he would introduce someone to buy a house here today. However, there were always accidents. If he was late and had to wait until tomorrow, wouldn't he be fired? Yang Jingwan was a little worried and wanted to call Wong Howren to confirm. However, after staring at the phone for a long time, he still couldn't muster up the courage. Wong Howren had already helped him so much. It was really unreasonable for him to keep bothering him like this. It was better to wait a little longer. If no one came to buy the house later, he would call and ask. However, while waiting, Yang Jingwan couldn't help but feel a little anxious. At this moment, her phone suddenly vibrated. It was Su Lang. Yang Jingwan didn't want to pick up the phone, so she rejected the call. But Su Lang didn't give up and attacked again. I'm at work. Why are you making so much noise? Yang Jingwan angrily picked up the phone and vented her anger on Su Lang. I saw that you didn't touch the breakfast on the table, so I wanted to ask if you didn't like it. If you don't like it, I'll make you new one. What do you think? Su Lang said gently to Yang Jingwan. I don't want to eat. Yang Jingwan said impatiently. She didn't want Su Lang to come to the office. If her colleagues saw that she had such a useless husband, they would definitely laugh at her. Are you still worried about your performance? I told you yesterday. Don't worry. You will definitely achieve this month's performance. Believe in yourself. Su Lang comforted and encouraged her. Yang Jingwan listened and couldn't help but complain. Why did I marry such a useless husband? If you were even a little bit useful and had some social connections, you could help me with my performance. Then I wouldn't have to work so hard. But what about you? All you know how to do is comfort me with your mouth. Most importantly, these comforting words had no effect on me. I need to work. I'll hang up. Yang Jingwan ended the call and prepared to get back to work. At 8:30 a.m., the first client arrived at the real estate sales department. It was a man in his 30s. Yang Jingwan wanted to walk over to greet him, but Cece beat her to it. Cece introduced the house to the male client as she flirted with him. She pulled her neckline very low and used her sweet voice to persuade the client to buy the house. After Cece's manipulation, the male client went straight to look at the house. Not long after, the male client paid the deposit for the house. When the other salespeople saw this, they were envious. Yang Jingwan was no exception. However, she didn't agree with Cece's actions at all. She couldn't be like Cece and sacrifice her looks to talk to a client. Yang Jingwan would rather resign and starve than do something like that. Soon after, more and more customers arrived. Yang Jingwan and her colleagues went to greet the clients. On Yang Jingwan's side, She talked to the client for less than 2 minutes before they broke up. However, the reason why they broke up wasn't because of Yang Jingwan's business skills. It was because the male client wanted to take advantage of her. Yang Jingwan was one step ahead and directly splashed a glass of water on his face. The male client immediately left in a huff. The real estate sales department was basically filled with women. Her colleagues often encountered clients who wanted to take advantage of her, but as long as the other party didn't go too far, they usually tolerated it. As for those who splashed water like Yang Jingwan, almost none of them did. This was also the reason why Yang Jingwan's business performance was so bad. Yang Jingwan, what's wrong with you? How could you splash water on a client's face? Yu Yin heard the news and came over to criticize Yang Jingwan. That male client wanted to touch my hand, Yang Jingwan retorted. Then, did he touch your hand? Yu Yin asked. No, because I was one step ahead and splashed the tea on him. Yang Jingwan patted her chest in relief. Yu Yin was so angry that a lot of the powder on her face fell. She gritted her teeth and said, other colleagues have had their hands touched, their legs touched, and even their buttocks touched. Yet, you're the only one. He hasn't even touched your hand yet, and you're already splashing water on his face. You sure have guts. I'm just brave enough to fight against injustice. Yang Jingwan didn't think she did anything wrong. You're still being stubborn. You don't have to greet clients today, Yu Yin said. If I don't greet clients, how am I supposed to talk about business? Yang Jingwan was unhappy. Aren't you a precious person? Do you still need to greet clients? You could just wait for them to come to you and beg to buy a house from you. Yu Yin mocked. Chapter 139. Hello, I would like to buy a house. Are you a salesperson here? As soon as Yang Jingwan finished speaking, a man in his early 30s walked over and asked Yang Jingwan politely. Yes, I am. Yang Jingwan nodded. I would like to buy a 3-bedroom house. Do you have any recommendations? The man asked. Yes. Yang Jingwan couldn't help but smile as she quickly replied. Boss, she's not very good at her job. Let me introduce you. Yu Yin was afraid that Yang Jingwan would mess up again, so she interjected. I asked her first. I'll let her do the introductions. The man looked at Yang Jingwan. This way, please. Yang Jingwan quickly said. The man followed Yang Jingwan out. Yu Yin was left standing there in a daze. In less than 10 minutes, Yang Jingwan sold a house. The man didn't even look at the house. He simply swiped $800,000 with his card and paid for most of the money. He couldn't be more generous. Yang Jingwan couldn't help but feel a little confused. Excuse me, did someone introduce you to me? Yang Jingwan couldn't help but ask. No, the man shook his head. He didn't wait for Yang Jingwan to ask any more questions and left. After a while, another customer came to Yang Jingwan to buy a house. In 15 minutes, another generous customer bought a house. What the hell? A customer actually came to her to buy a house. Yu Yin was dumbfounded. However, what she didn't know was that this was only the beginning. Over the course of the morning, Yang Jingwan sold a total of 12 houses. In total, she made over $14 million. In just one morning, a single salesperson had achieved such a result. This had broken the sales department's record. The entire sales department was in shock. As the boss of the sales department, Yu Yan's sales were ranked number 1 every month. Her current sales for the month were $8 million. In the past, this number was almost guaranteed to be the monthly sales champion. However, Yang Jingwan suddenly appeared out of nowhere. If the higher-ups heard that she made $14 million in sales in one morning, Yang Jingwan might even be promoted. Yu Yin felt threatened. Luckily, she was sharp enough to have a backup plan when Yang Jingwan sold the house. Lunchtime, Yang Jingwan was in a good mood. She felt that the lunch in the sales department was several times more delicious than usual. After the meal, she went to the flower pond outside the sales department, ready to take a breather and bask in the sun. At this moment, Su Lang called. What's the matter? Yang Jingwan's mood was a lot better, so her tone was a lot gentler than it was in the morning. Su Lang could feel Yang Jingwan's happiness from her words. He immediately guessed that Ma Hongsheng had arranged for someone to buy a house in Yang Jingwan's place. It's nothing. I just wanted to talk to you. Su Lang smiled. I'm very busy here. Let's talk when we get home. When Yang Jingwan saw Wang Haoran walking towards her, she was no longer in the mood to chat with Su Lang. So, she casually made up a phone call to immediately end the conversation. However, because she was in a good mood, her tone sounded very gentle. When Su Lang heard this, he thought that Yang Jingwan's attitude toward him had changed. Otherwise, why would she say, "Let's talk at home"? From her tone, it was clear that she was starting to treat him as her husband. That was great. Su Lang was very happy. He rode out on the tram and planned to go to the market to buy some groceries so that he could cook a table full of delicious dishes for Yang Jingwan. On the other side, when Yang Jingwan saw Wang Haoran arrive, she quickly put away her phone and walked towards Wang Haoran. "Why are you here?" As she spoke, Yang Jingwan's eyes widened. She couldn't help but carefully examine Wang Haoran. She had seen Wang Haoran a few times already. She didn't know why, but she felt that Wang Haoran was particularly handsome today. He had an indescribable temperament that was particularly attractive. It made people want to get close to him. "I took advantage of my lunch break to come take a look." After Wang Haoran replied, he noticed Yang Jingwan's gaze. "Why are you looking at me like that? Is there something on my face?" No. Yang Jingwan shyly looked away. Ding! The female lead Yang Jingwan's affability towards the host has increased by 5. Current affability is 25, very friendly. Ding! The host has influenced the plot. Received 100 villain points. After receiving the system notification, Wang Haoran froze. Yang Jingwan looked at him for a while. How did her affability increase? Was this the benefit of having a large increase in charm? "How's the sales going?" Wang Haoran suddenly asked as he put away his thoughts. "In just one morning, I sold 12 houses," Yang Jingwan replied happily. She then asked the question in her heart. "Did you introduce all the people who bought the houses? If I didn't introduce them, who else could it be?" Wang Haoran smiled. "I knew it. How could I have such good luck? It was indeed arranged by you." Yang Jingwan's question was answered. She looked at Wang Haoran with a lot more kindness. Ding! The female lead Yang Jingwan's affability towards the host has increased by 10. Current affability is 35, very friendly. Ding! The host has influenced the plot. Received 200 villain points. Ding! The host has successfully fooled the female lead Yang Jingwan into thinking that the host helped her solve a performance crisis. Received 400 villain points. Su Lang's protagonist aura -20. Host villain aura +20. "Aren't you going to invite me in?" Wang Haoran took advantage of the situation to ask. He overheard yesterday that Yang Jingwan's boss had a very bad attitude on the phone. Before he came, he also told Qin Yunhan to say hi. Since he was here, of course he had to do something. Please come in." Yang Jingwan quickly reacted and reached out her hand to lead the way for Wang Haoran. The two arrived at the lobby of the real estate department. It was still time to eat, so there wasn't anyone in the lobby. Yang Jingwan took Wang Haoran to a reception room and personally made a cup of tea. When she returned to the reception room, Yang Jingwan saw Yu Yan. "Hello, Manager Yu." Yang Jingwan straightened her back and greeted her. Her performance this month had far exceeded expectations. Her job was definitely saved. Yu Yan had no reason to make things difficult for her. "This is your resignation letter. I already signed it. You don't need to come tomorrow." Yu Yan sneered and threw a piece of paper at Yang Jingwan. Chapter 140. What did I give you a resignation letter? Yang Jingwan was stunned. She quickly realized what was going on and said angrily, "I understand now. You want to kick me out and take all my sales for yourself. Who said it's your sales? Go check on the computer and find out who the last salesperson was," Yu Yan said sinisterly. "No wonder you were so kind as to help me deal with the contract. You did something to it." Yang Jingwan said angrily. It was no secret that Yu Yan liked to exploit the salespeople under her. The 12 houses that she sold had a commission of almost 1,000,000 yuan. Yu Yan obviously wanted to take all of Yang Jingwan's commission. Almost 1,000,000 yuan. She had a big appetite. "It's too late for you to find out now," Yu Yan said proudly. "So many colleagues saw me receiving customers and selling the houses. I'm going to tell on you." Yang Jingwan said angrily. "Since I dare to do it, do you think I'm afraid of you telling on me? Go ask them and see if anyone dares to speak up for you. Even if someone speaks up for you, see if the head office will punish me. Yu Yin had connections in the head office, so she was naturally fearless. Yang Jingwan was angry and wronged when she saw the old witch's smug look. At this moment, a hand suddenly rested on her shoulder and gently patted her. She turned around and saw an extraordinarily handsome face. I heard everything. Let me handle it, Wang Haoran comforted. Okay. Yang Jingwan breathed a sigh of relief. Yu Yin subconsciously sized up Wang Haoran. She felt that he had an extraordinary aura and was full of nobility. He didn't seem like an ordinary person. You are? Yu Yin asked cautiously when she saw that Wang Haoran was obviously going to help Yang Jingwan. My surname is Wang. Someone must have told you about it, right? Wang Haoran said. You're young Master Wang. Yu Yin was shocked. Her legs started to tremble. In the morning, she received a call from Qin Yunhan, the eldest daughter of the Qin group. On the phone, the eldest daughter said that a rich young master with the surname Wang might come over and repeatedly told Yu Yin to listen to his orders. Young Master Wang, I was just joking with Jingwan. Don't take it seriously. Yu Yin confirmed that Wang Haoran was the person that Miss was talking about, so she immediately put on a smiling face and changed her words. Wang Haoran couldn't be bothered with a small fry like Yu Yin. He looked directly at Yang Jingwan and said, You can do whatever you want with this person. Fire her or put her in jail. It's all up to you. Yu Yin was so scared that her legs trembled and she knelt on the ground. Her humble appearance was a stark contrast to her arrogant and domineering attitude just now. Yang Jingwan looked down at her condescendingly. She suddenly felt very happy. Her resentment and anger from being bullied by the old woman were swept away. However, Yang Jingwan also understood that this was all thanks to Wang Haoran. Ding! The female lead Yang Jingwan's affability towards the host has increased by 10. Current affability is 45, very friendly. Ding! The host changed the direction of the plot. Received 200 villain points. Yang Jingwan's affability had increased to 45 this quickly? Wang Haoran was secretly shocked. The charm halo had an active skill. Using it on the female lead could increase her affability by 10 points. When the affability reached 50 points, the female lead's attitude towards him would change. What kind of magical experience would it be for a married female lead to fall in love with him? Wang Haoran was curious and expectant, so he used the communication system to send out an order. Soon, a notification came from the system. Ding! The host used the charm halo on the female lead Yang Jingwan. The female lead Yang Jingwan's affability towards the host has increased by 10. Current affability is 55, adoration. Ding! The host changed the direction of the plot. Received 500 villain points. Su Lang's protagonist aura -30. The host's villain aura +30. After Wang Haoran received the two system notifications, he clearly felt Yang Jingwan suddenly tremble. Her eyes seemed to be out of control as they looked towards Wang Haoran. It was just a short look, but Yang Jingwan's snow-white face instantly blushed. But Yang Jingwan was like a frightened little rabbit as she immediately looked away. Jingwan, I was confused. I shouldn't have coveted your commission. Please let me go. I have an old mother and a child that isn't even 3 years old. I can't go to jail. Yu Yin didn't know if she was scared out of her wits, but she kept kowtowing towards Yang Jingwan as she spoke. Her forehead hit the floor and made a dong-dong-dong sound. After a few kowtows, Yu Yan's forehead started to bleed. Yang Jingwan originally wanted to send Yu Yin to jail, but seeing her like this, her heart softened. You can leave. I don't want to see you again, Yang Jingwan said in disgust. Jingwan, thank you. I'll go write my resignation letter right now. I won't appear in front of you tomorrow. After speaking, Yu Yin stood up as though she was afraid Yang Jingwan would go back on her words. Then, she quickly ran away. Wang Haoran could tell that Yu Yin was pretending to be pitiful, but he didn't stop her. He already told Yang Jingwan to make a decision. Since Yang Jingwan only wanted Yu Yin to resign, then he would let her be. Yang Jingwan wasn't stupid. She could tell that Yu Yin was pretending, but she was too soft-hearted. When she saw that Yu Yin was about to injure herself to gain her sympathy, she couldn't bear to be ruthless. You helped me again. How should I thank you? Yang Jingwan looked at Wang Haoran with a complicated expression. Do you mean that as long as I ask, you'll agree to anything? Wang Haoran said teasingly. Yang Jingwan's heart skipped a beat as she became nervous. If Wang Haoran really made an unreasonable request, what should she do? Give me your hand, Wang Haoran suddenly said. Yang Jingwan didn't know what was going on, but she still did as she was told. She extended her well-maintained hand. Seeing this, Wang Haoran gently squeezed her hand. Yang Jingwan's heart trembled as she subconsciously tried to pull her hand back. But Wang Haoran was holding on her hand, so she couldn't break free. Let go of me. If someone else sees, then it won't be good. Yang Jingwan was angry. She wanted to warn Wang Haoran, but when the words reached her mouth, they came from her heart. Instead, she said something weak and shy. Wang Haoran let go of her hand at the right time. Yang Jingwan pulled her hand back and let out a sigh of relief. But her heart was still racing uncontrollably. Ding! The host has touched the heart of the female lead, Yang Jingwan. Obtained 200 villain points. Young Master Wang, you've helped me many times. I'm very grateful, but please be more serious. If you continue to be like this, we won't even be friends anymore. Yang Jingwan warned with a cold expression. If Wang Haoran hadn't received the system notification, he would have been fooled by Yang Jingwan and thought that she was angry. Women were indeed creatures that didn't mean what they said. She was obviously moved, but she pretended to be unapproachable. But Wang Haoran found it even more interesting. Chapter 141. Night fell. After a day of work, Yang Jingwan returned home. Yang Tai and Li Monli were watching TV in the living room. Su Lang was cooking in the kitchen. Jingwan, don't you usually get off work early? Why are you only home after 7 p.m. today? Li Monli asked her daughter as she watched a drama. Yang Jingwan looked a little tired, but more than that, she was excited. Mom, you might not believe me, but I sold 19 units today. Yes, 19 units in total. In the morning, 12 units were sold, and in the afternoon, 7 units were sold. Are you trying to make me happy? Li Monli smiled. Didn't you say that selling a few units in a month was already a good result? How could you sell 19 units in a day? Yang Tai was also in disbelief. Why would I lie to you? I really sold 19 units. Yang Jingwan said confidently. Yang Tai and Li Monli looked at each other and suddenly became alert. They stopped watching TV and focused their attention on their daughter. What's going on? Li Monli felt something was wrong, so she asked. Yang Jingwan sneaked a glance at the kitchen. After confirming that Su Lang was cooking and wasn't paying attention, she lowered her voice and said, Young Master Wang introduced me to a client. I see. Yang Tai and Li Monli were enlightened. Then, they couldn't help but look happy. How much commission did you get from selling 19 units? Li Monli rubbed her hands together and asked expectantly. I did a rough calculation. It should be 5 million to 6 million. Oh my God, you made so much in one day. My project will take at least a year. In the end, I'll probably make 2 to 3 million, Yang Tai said excitedly. It's not like I can sell that many units every day. This is just one time. Jingwan, did you make a one-time deal with young Master Wang? Are you stupid? Li Monli said impatiently. Mom, what are you thinking? I didn't make a deal, Yang Jingwan said angrily. Young Master Wang introduced you to so many clients. Didn't he ask for anything in return? Li Monli looked at her in disbelief. He just grabbed my hand, Yang Jingwan said with a red face. Do you think I'm senile? How could you lie to me with such words? Tell me honestly, how far have you guys progressed? Li Monli whispered. Just friends, nothing more. Forget it. If you don't want to tell me, I won't force you. Li Monli was afraid that her voice was too loud and Su Lang would hear it, so she didn't ask. Seeing Li Monli's reaction, Yang Jingwan felt a little helpless, but she did not explain. Although she kept a distance from Wang Haoran, she couldn't help but feel a little guilty. She realized that Wang Haoran's handsome and charming face would always appear in her mind, and she couldn't get rid of it even if she wanted to. Yang Jingwan knew it wasn't right, but she couldn't control her emotions. Dinner is ready. Su Lang's voice came from the kitchen. He had specially gone out to buy groceries today, so there was a rich variety of dishes for dinner. The family began to eat. Here, Jingwan. You've worked hard today. Eat more. Li Monli picked up some food for her daughter. That's right, that's right. Jingwan is the biggest contributor to our family. She sold 19 houses in one day and earned 5 million. She's much better than you, Dad. Yang Tai complimented as he felt gratified. When Su Lang heard this, his heart skipped a beat. He knew that Ma Hongshang had arranged for someone to buy a house from his wife. However, he didn't plan to take credit for it, so he pretended he didn't hear anything and quietly ate. To the side, Li Monli immediately glared at Yang Tai, silently blaming him for not thinking straight. Could he tell Su Lang that young Master Wang introduced a client to Yang Jingwan? Of course not. After being glared at by his wife, Yang Tai's heart skipped a beat. He knew he had said the wrong thing, but he couldn't take back what he had said. Yang Jingwan felt guilty. She couldn't help but lower her head and eat her food. However, after eating for a while, Su Lang didn't say anything. Yang Jingwan lifted her head and scanned Su Lang. She saw that Su Lang's expression was normal. He didn't seem to take what she said to heart. Yang Jingwan subconsciously let out a sigh of relief. Yang Tai and Li Monli looked at each other and relaxed. At the same time, they both sighed. It seemed this useless son-in-law's brain wasn't working well. He didn't even realize that something was wrong and was kept in the dark even after being cheated on. Honey, in half a month's time is the anniversary of our marriage. What do you want as a gift? Su Lang suddenly asked after he was almost done eating. No need, Yang Jingwan replied coldly. When it came to this marriage, Yang Jingwan had never taken it seriously. Of course, she didn't care about the anniversary of their marriage. Plus, the useless Su Lang didn't have any decent gifts to give her. The anniversary of our marriage is an important day. A gift is a must. Honey, just tell me what you want. I'll definitely buy it for you, Su Lang said confidently. I already said no need. You're so annoying. Yang Jingwan gradually lost her patience. Mr. Su, don't mention the marriage. Look, you've already been married for a year, and you haven't even given Jingwan a basic ceremony. How dare you mention the 1-year anniversary? Li Monli said with disdain. Hearing this, Su Lang felt it made sense. He and Yang Jingwan had been married for almost a year, but they hadn't held a wedding. With this thought, Su Lang immediately thought of the best gift for Yang Jingwan. Honey, in half a month's time, it will be the first anniversary of our marriage. Let's hold a grand wedding and let everyone in Qingling witness our happiness, Su Lang said to Yang Jingwan with a tender expression. Yang Jingwan remained expressionless as she sneered on the inside. How could a poor man like Su Lang have the money to hold a wedding? The only reason he said this was because he knew she had earned over $1 million and wanted to use the money to hold a wedding. He wanted to use her money to hold a wedding. Yet he claimed it was a gift for her. Yang Jingwan couldn't be bothered to mock him. Su Lang, is your bad habit of bragging again? Li Monli couldn't help but laugh. Whether I'm bragging or not, you'll know in half a month, Su Lang said indifferently. Okay. But first, you're not allowed to use a single cent of Jingwan's money. You'll pay for the wedding. Li Monli made things clear. Of course. Su Lang nodded and started to plan in his heart. In order to hold a grand wedding, money was a must. But Su Lang didn't have to worry about this at all, because he had more than 5 billion in his card. But in order to keep a low profile, he hadn't used it for a long time. For the wedding in half a month, Su Lang decided to use it. With money, he would arrange for all kinds of world-class luxury cars, helicopters, and other transportation. In any case, all the wedding scenes that could be built with money were all set up. Other than the ceremony, there were also the guests who would come to congratulate them. Ma Hongsheng was the richest man in Qingling, and Su Lang had already decided that he would be one of the guests who would come to congratulate them. Through Ma Hongsheng's relationship, the other business moguls in Qingling could also easily invite them. However, Su Lang felt that it was far from enough to just invite a few business moguls. It seemed like it was necessary to contact the enemy of Hades, Miracle Dr. Shui, and Ghostface Oracle. Chapter 142. Mr. Su plans to hold a wedding. Wang Haoran eavesdropped on their family's conversation through Yang Jingwan's phone. 9 out of 10 novels about the god of war's adopted son-in-law had a plot where the protagonist pretended to be someone through a wedding. This was the worst way to pretend to be cool. But even though it was bad, it had an extraordinary effect on pushing the plot forward. If Mr. Su really held a wedding and successfully pretended to be someone, then Yang Jingwan and her family would definitely change their opinion of Mr. Su. Perhaps Yang Jingwan would even be moved by this and acknowledge Mr. Su as her husband. The wedding was very unfavorable for Wang Haoran, but at the same time, it was also a huge opportunity for Wang Haoran to counterattack. He could use this opportunity to get rid of the protagonist of the God of War in one fell swoop. Think about it. The God of War made such a big scene to give Yang Jingwan the wedding of the century. However, at the wedding, the MC of the wedding asked, "Are you willing to marry Mr. Su?" Yang Jingwan, "Are you willing to marry Su Lang? As his wife, are you willing to love him unreservedly and be loyal to him forever, whether in good times or bad, for wealth or for poverty, in health or in sickness, in happiness or in sorrow?" Then, Yang Jingwan directly said, "I don't want to." Then how interesting would Mr. Su's expression be? What would the expressions of the guests who were invited to watch the ceremony be? Or, he could be even more ruthless. He could take advantage of this half a month to increase Yang Jingwan's favorability towards him. Then, at the wedding, he could directly kidnap Yang Jingwan in front of everyone. Or, he could do an ultimate one-shot. He could harvest Yang Jingwan, record a video of the process, and then play it on the big screen at the wedding. Mr. Su would probably explode on the spot in that scene, right? As for the rest, Wang Haoran hadn't thought of it yet. In the end, the specific choice still depended on the situation. After all, there was still half a month. In this half a month, he still needed to suppress Mr. Su. To suppress Mr. Su, the female lead, Yang Jingwan, was very important. Ma Hongsheng, an important supporting character in the protagonist's camp, also needed to be taken care of. At the banquet in the villa, the poison Wang Haoran gave Ma Hongsheng was formulated with rainbow water lilies and some other drugs. The poison wasn't fatal, but would cause one to become particularly drowsy, and they would often be unable to raise their spirits. Ma Hongxing's energy would inevitably decrease sharply, and he wouldn't have so much time to manage the business. It was reported on the internet that Ma Hongsheng had more than 180 billion in assets. Even Zheng Li warned Wang Haoran not to provoke Ma Hongsheng to avoid trouble. However, as a supervillain, how could he admit defeat? Moreover, Ma Hongsheng was a member of the main character's camp. Wang Haoran was very interested in Ma Hongxing's assets. He had already made up his mind to annex Ma Hongxing's assets and reduce Ma Hongxing's influence. This made Ma Hongsheng unable to help Su Lang. Borrowing the power of the Wang group was a good idea, but it would consume a lot of resources in an economic war, so this was the last resort. Moreover, he might not be able to defeat Ma Hong. Although Ma Hongsheng didn't have the energy to manage the business, and the company was almost leaderless, the people under Ma Hongsheng were definitely not to be trifled with. It was a very unwise decision to use the Wang family's tens of billions of assets to compete with hundreds of billions of assets. If an external attack wasn't suitable, then he could only attack from the inside. There was a saying that the strongest fortresses were often not breached from the outside, but from the inside. If he wanted to attack from the inside, then there was no doubt that the first thing he needed to know was Ma Hongxing's family relationship. This simple information was available on the internet, and Wang Haoran could easily find it online. Wang Haoran opened the search engine with his mobile phone and did a search. Soon, he got the key information. Ma Hongsheng was married twice and had 2 sons. His first wife died early, and his second wife was his second wife who he married 3 years ago. His eldest son was born with his first wife and was now 24 years old. He was a rich playboy who changed girlfriends more frequently than he changed clothes. His youngest son was born with his second wife and was now a little over 1 year old. It was worth mentioning that Ma Hongxing's second wife was only 23 years old. His second wife was 1 year younger than his son. What kind of expression would Ma Hongxing's eldest son have when he saw his mother, who was 1 year younger than him? Wang Haoran didn't know. But Wang Haoran was sure of one thing, and that was that this rich playboy and Ma Hongxing's second wife didn't have a good relationship. This rich playboy was originally an only child, and when Ma Hongsheng passed away, he would be able to enjoy more than 100 billion worth of assets alone. But 3 years ago, Ma Hongsheng married his second wife, and in the next year or so, his second wife's belly was so good that the rich playboy had another younger brother who could share the family's assets. Not to mention his silk pants. Any random person would be displeased. If he wanted to take over Ma Hongsheng's assets from the inside, it was obvious that it was best to start with these two people. As long as he could cultivate one of them as his puppet, then he could use this puppet to control Ma Hongsheng's assets. But who should he choose? Wang Haoren still didn't know the specific personalities of these two people and couldn't make up his mind at the moment. It seemed that he had to pay Ma Hongsheng a visit. Ma Hongsheng was sick, and the two parties fighting for the family's assets would definitely take good care of him to win his favor. Going to see Ma Hongsheng was equivalent to seeing the two parties fighting for the family's assets. Thinking of this, Wang Haoren immediately contacted Zheng Li. In Qin Ling's business circle, as long as they weren't sworn enemies, he would have a little bit of friendship with them. Now that Ma Hongsheng was sick, it was reasonable for Zheng Li to visit him. Wang Haoren wanted to go with Zheng Li to see the rich playboy and his second wife, and then decide who was more suitable to be cultivated as a puppet. Zheng Li was very busy. After receiving Wang Haoren's call, she asked her secretary, Fang Xian, about her schedule and found out that she would only be free in 3 days. Wang Haoren knew that Ma Hongsheng wouldn't be able to leave the hospital in the short to medium term, so he wasn't in a hurry. He told Zheng Li that he would visit him in 3 days. Time flew by quickly, and a few days later. In the past few days, Yang Jingwan didn't do anything special, and Wang Haoren didn't have much contact with her. However, the boy of wealth, Fang Heng, sent more than 20 antiques at once. Some of the antiques were big. The total market value of these antiques was about 880 million yuan. As for the money from selling the antiques, Wang Haoren naturally pretended that he had called Fang Xian and got the antique for free. Wang Haoren had already accumulated a lot of antiques. He found a professional auction house and put all these antiques up for auction, ready to cash them all out. Wang Haoren did a rough calculation. As long as all these antiques were sold, he would have nearly 900 million yuan in his account. Wang Haoren earned about 120 million yuan from stone gambling last time. He had spent a part of it, but there was still about 1 million yuan left. If the 900 million yuan came into his account, his cash flow would break through the 1 billion yuan mark. Other than that, there was also Shun Kang's hotel with a market value of about 500 million yuan. Even if he didn't take into account his identity as a rich second generation, he was still a rich man with 1.5 billion yuan in assets. However, this was far from enough. As a supervillain, of course, he had to set his goal higher, to become the richest man in the world. However, this goal was too big, and it was a bit far away for now. Let's set a small goal first, to become the richest man in Qingling. Chapter 143. At noon that day, Wang Haoren and Zheng Li arrived at Tianhui Clinic. Ma Hongsheng was recuperating here. However, before the two of them reached Ma Hongsheng's ward, they saw an acquaintance. "Aunt Zheng Haoren, why are you here?" Tang Bingyun asked curiously. "What's wrong with you? Am I very old? You called me Sister Zheng before. Why did you suddenly change your way of addressing me?" Zhenli did not answer her question. Instead, she criticized her with dissatisfaction. Zhenli did not argue with her last time because Tang Bingyun's grandfather was sick. Now that she called her that, of course, Zhenli could not tolerate it. "That's not what I meant. You look young and beautiful. You're not old at all," Tang Bingyun hurriedly explained. She could not help but look at Wang Haoren. She did not know why, but she felt that Wang Haoren was particularly handsome and attractive today. As she looked at him, she was a little dazed. Ding! The host has aroused the heart of the female lead, Tang Bingyun. Obtained 300 villain points. Wang Haoren was slightly delighted. He was just standing there without saying anything, and Tang Bingyun was already moved? Sure enough, it was different when the charm value increased to more than 500. "What do you mean?" Zhenli responded to Tang Bingyun's words. However, she realized that Tang Bingyun was staring at her son in a daze. She immediately understood. "Tang Bingyun, It's no wonder you suddenly changed your way of addressing me. I treat you as a sister, but you're having designs on my son. You even want to eat young grass. Do you have any shame?" Hearing the scolding, Tang Bingyun also came back to her senses. She inadvertently recalled the incident at the couple's restaurant that day. Her face flushed red, and she suddenly felt ashamed. "You misunderstood me. I didn't mean it that way." Tang Bingyun could not help but lie, trying to appease Zhenli. "I didn't mean it that way, you mom." Zhenli wanted to continue mocking Tang Bingyun, but she was suddenly interrupted by Wang Haoren. Zhenli tilted her head and looked at her son, only to see him shaking his head slightly at her. Zhenli didn't say anything more. Tang Bingyun breathed a sigh of relief and looked at Wang Haoren again. "Why are you here?" Wang Haoren asked Tang Bingyun in confusion. Tang Bingyun looked like she wanted to say something, but hesitated. After thinking for a while, she decided to tell the truth. "Grandpa asked me to take a look at Yang Wishin." "Yang Wishin is here?" "Yes. He was injured and is recuperating here." "What about your marriage with Yang Wishin? How did your grandpa deal with it?" "Grandpa has canceled my marriage with Yang Wishin. He asked me to take a look at Yang Wishin purely because of the friendship between the elders of the two families." When Tang Bingyun mentioned this, she could not help but feel happy. Wang Haoren nodded slightly. This Tang Lao was not stupid. After knowing that Yang Wishin was crippled, he still canceled the marriage between Yang Wishin and Tang Bingyun. However, Yang Wishin's identity as the main character was still there, and he could still provide rewards. Now was the time when Yang Wishin's heart and body were very weak. At this time, if he took the opportunity to mess with Yang Wishin's mentality, he would definitely take a lot aback. With that thought, Wang Haoren said to Zhenli, "Mom, find a place to sit for a while." "Okay, do as you see fit." Zhenli thought that her son wanted to send her away so that he could talk to Tang Bingyun in private. Zhenli did not object to this. She learned from Tang Lao that Tang Bingyun was engaged, so when she saw that Tang Bingyun seemed to be interested in her son, she could not help but ridicule Tang Bingyun. However, since Tang Bingyun's marriage was canceled, it did not matter. The Tang Lao's business was quite big. In addition, Tang Lao had high hopes for Tang Bingyun. In the future, most of the Tang family's business would be handed over to Tang Bingyun to manage. Although Tang Bingyun was a few years older, she was still worthy of her son. Thinking of this, Zhenli felt relieved and left for the time being. "What do you want to talk to me about?" Tang Bingyun asked expectantly. "Let's go and see Yang Wishin together," Wang Haoren replied. Tang Bingyun could not help but feel a little disappointed, but she quickly concealed this emotion and nodded. She said, "Follow me." Tang Bingyun led the way in front, and soon Wang Haoren came to a high-end nursing ward. Yang Wishin could not take care of himself now, and it was the nurses who took care of him. Tang Bingyun was afraid that she would see something she should not see, so she knocked on the door first. "I'm Tang Bingyun. My grandfather asked me to see you. Is it convenient for you to come in now?" After she finished speaking, there was no response. Tang Bingyun continued to look at the door and repeated what she just said. Wang Haoren directly used his X-ray vision to see the situation in the ward. He saw that there was only Yang Wishin in the ward, and there was no nurse cleaning anything for him. Yang Wishin was also awake, and he heard Tang Bingyun's voice. However, Yang Wishin did not speak. His face was mixed with feelings of inferiority, regret, loneliness, anger, and other emotions. It seemed that he obviously felt that he could not face Tang Bingyun. No response. "Is he asleep?" Tang Bingyun saw Wang Haoren and said, "Let me see." With that, Wang Haoren reached out to open the door. Yang Wishin quickly closed his eyes and pretended to be asleep. "He's asleep." Wang Haoren held back his laughter and turned back to reply Tang Bingyun. "Is it convenient for me to go in?" Tang Bingyun asked cautiously. "It's convenient. That's good." Tang Bingyun nodded and walked in with Wang Haoren. She put the basket of flowers and fruits on the bedside table, and then whispered to Yang Wishin, "Grandpa asked me to come and see you. Are you okay?" Yang Wishin continued to pretend to be asleep and did not respond. "He's in a deep sleep." Tang Bingyun could not help but mutter. "Why is he in the hospital? Where is he hurt?" Wang Haoren took a stool in the ward and sat down, asking the obvious. "He was beaten up." "He's injured," Tang Bingyun responded vaguely. Where is he injured? Wang Haoran deliberately asked. Seeing that Wang Haoran was so curious, Tang Bingyun whispered, He's injured there. Where? Wang Haoran pretended not to understand. Let me put it this way. Yang Wuxian can't marry in the future, and he can't carry on the family line. Tang Bingyun could not say such vulgar words, so she said it in a euphemistic way. Ding! The host deliberately led the protagonist Yang Wuxian to be deeply affected by the female protagonist Tang Bingyun. The host received 500 villain points, Yang Wuxian's protagonist aura -20, and the host's villain aura +20. Oh. Wang Haoran saw that he had achieved his goal, so he pretended to be enlightened to show that he understood. Haoran, since he's asleep, let's go. Tang Bingyun did not want to stay in the ward, so she wanted to go somewhere else to talk to Wang Haoran. Your grandpa asked you to come and see Yang Wuxian. He hasn't woken up yet, and you just left. Isn't this inappropriate? Wang Haoran wanted to continue to play the role of Yang Wuxian. Of course, he did not want to leave, so he persuaded her. Chapter 144. Then, let's wait for a while. Tang Bingyun nodded, but she felt a little bored waiting, so she went to the bedside table and picked up some fruits from the fruit basket. There are strawberries, apricots, and grapes. Which one do you want to eat? Grapes. Tang Bingyun nodded and went to the bathroom in the ward to wash the grapes. It's very sweet. Eat it. Tang Bingyun held the grapes in a fruit plate. After tasting them, she brought them to Wang Haoran. I'm too lazy to wash my hands. Can you feed me? Wang Haoran suggested. So lazy. Tang Bingyun protested a little, but she still picked up a grape and put it into Wang Haoran's mouth. Isn't it very sweet? Tang Bingyun asked with a smile. With such a beautiful woman feeding me, even if it's sour, I still feel it's sweet, Wang Haoran said with a smile. Tang Bingyun was stunned. Then she immediately showed a big smile and said in surprise, I haven't seen you for a few days, and you've become so good at talking. I'm just telling the truth, Wang Haoran said seriously. I'll reward you with another grape. Tang Bingyun was happy and giggled. It's so sweet. I want more. Okay. Ding. The host caused the protagonist, Yang Wuxian, to lose his mental balance. Obtained 100 villain points. Ding. The host caused the protagonist, Yang Wuxian, to lose his mental balance. Obtained 200 villain points. Ding. The host caused the protagonist, Yang Wuxian, to lose his mental balance. Obtained 300 villain points. Yang Wuxian, who was pretending to be asleep, heard the laughter of the man and woman next to him. He only felt that he had eaten a lot of dog food. He wanted to divert his attention and not listen to the voices next to him, but those voices seemed to have eyes and crazily drilled into his ears. Yang Wuxian felt uncomfortable. Wang Haoran was overjoyed as he listened to the continuous notifications from the system. After he finished eating the grapes, he did a rough calculation and found that he had earned a total of 2,100 villain points. He was having too much fun with the villains. Wang Haoran told Tang Bingyun that he wanted to eat more grapes. Tang Bingyun washed another plate and brought it over. However, this time, Wang Haoran did not receive any rewards. The Yang Wuxian was numb from the stimulation. He was full of dog food and had developed a resistance to it. This method did not work. It seemed that he had to increase the dosage. Wang Haoran pondered for a moment. Then he said to Tang Bingyun, That's right. I'm full. I'm not eating anymore. Okay. Tang Bingyun nodded. She turned around and put the fruit plate on the bedside table. However, when she turned around, she felt someone hugging her from behind. Tang Bingyun, of course, knew that it was Wang Haoran. You, what are you doing? How dare you take advantage of me? Tang Bingyun subconsciously broke away from the hug. She was panicking, but she pretended to be angry, as if she was reprimanding Wang Haoran for being rude. No matter how bold I am, I'm not as bold as you, am I? Wang Haoran looked at Tang Bingyun meaningfully. What do you mean? Tang Bingyun did not dare to meet Wang Haoran's gaze. She asked guiltily, What do I mean? Don't you understand? I don't understand what you're talking about. Tang Bingyun was pretending. You don't understand? Then let me remind you that you invited me to a couple's restaurant for dinner the other day. Wang Haoran said slowly. You. Tang Bingyun could no longer suppress the panic in her heart. She looked at Wang Haoran in shock. What do you know? I know everything that I should know. Wang Haoran stared at her. I'm sorry. Tang Bingyun felt that Wang Haoran seemed to be condemning her, so she could not help but lower her head. What's the use of saying sorry? You should at least give me an explanation. Wang Haoran's face was stern, as if he was questioning her. I was confused for a moment. Tang Bingyun explained shyly and guiltily. Grandpa wanted me to get engaged to Yang Wuxian as soon as possible. He said that he wanted to have a great grandson. I don't like Yang Wuxian, so I was very reluctant. Even if I had to die, I wouldn't get engaged to him. Ding. The host deliberately led the protagonist Yang Wuxian to be deeply hurt by the female lead Tang Bingyun. Obtained 500 villain points. Yang Wuxian's protagonist aura -20. Host villain aura +20. But Grandpa kept urging me. I was hot-headed and wanted to have a baby so that Grandpa would give up on the idea of marriage. This way, Grandpa could have a great grandson, and I wouldn't have to marry Yang Wuxian. Ding. The host deliberately led the protagonist Yang Wuxian to be madly hurt by the female lead Tang Bingyun. Obtained 800 villain points. Yang Wuxian's protagonist aura -40. Host's villain aura +40. Wang Haoran's heart skipped a beat. He thought to himself, don't tell me I'm going to be a father? So he quickly asked, are you pregnant? No. Tang Bingyun blushed. According to what you're saying, you're treating me like a tool. You're throwing me away after you're done with me. You didn't even say a word. Wang Haoran snorted. Tang Bingyun panicked and hurriedly blurted out an explanation. I didn't have such thoughts. I just felt that I couldn't face you. That's why I didn't tell you. I'm not a casual person. If I didn't like you, I wouldn't do such a thing even if you beat me to death. Ding. The female lead Tang Bingyun has confessed to the host. The host obtained 800 villain points. Yang Wuxian's protagonist aura -40. Host's villain aura +40. Ding. The host caused the protagonist Yang Wuxian to lose his mental balance. Obtained 300 villain points. Wang Haoran got what he wanted and happily received a large wave of rewards. However, he felt that Yang Wuxian still had potential to be exploited. So you're saying that I'm a casual person? Wang Haoran pretended to be displeased and asked. Things can't be undone. How do you want me to make it up to you? Tell me, Tang Bingyun said dejectedly. When do you get off work today? About 8 or 9 o'clock. Okay, then treat me to another meal tonight. Wang Haoran hinted at Tang Bingyun. Tang Bingyun was a little confused. She seemed to be in disbelief. Wang Haoran added, it's that couple's restaurant from last time. How could Tang Bingyun not understand when he said that? As the Sea King, Yang Wuxian understood even more. You bad boy. I thought you were really angry. Tang Bingyun did not know whether to laugh or cry. She was slightly annoyed. Auntie Tang, are you going to treat me to dinner or not? Can't you say something? Wang Haoran asked. You're still calling me Auntie Tang. Call me Sister Bingyun. Tang Bingyun giggled. Her words obviously implied that she agreed with Wang Haoran. Yang Wuxian, who was pretending to be asleep, heard it and felt very uncomfortable. Ding! The host caused the protagonist Yang Wuxian to lose his mental balance. Obtained 500 villain points. Obtained Yang Wuxian protagonist aura -20. Obtained villain aura +20. Ding! The host caused the protagonist Yang Wuxian to lose his mental balance. Obtained 600 villain points. Obtained Yang Wuxian protagonist aura -30. Obtained villain aura +30. Sister Bingyun. Wang Haoran's actual age was actually 30 years old. Of course, he did not want to address her, as Tang Bingyun said. You're younger than me. You should call me Sister Bingyun. Tang Bingyun smiled and corrected him. Sister Bingyun. Wang Haoran insisted. Sigh, I'm scared of you. Do whatever you want. Then I'll see you tonight. Okay, but you have to listen to me when the time comes. What do you mean by listen to you? What do you think? Wang Haoran gave her a look. Tang Bingyun belatedly realized what had happened. Can't I? Then forget it. Let's cancel tonight's dinner. Wang Haoran said directly. Don't, I promise. Tang Bingyun hurriedly expressed her position. However, as soon as the words left her mouth, she realized that she had lost her composure. She was instantly ashamed. Following Tang Bingyun's words, Wang Haoren also received 2 system notifications. Ding! The host caused the protagonist Yang Wuxian to lose his mental balance. Obtained 1,000 villain points. Obtained Yang Wuxian protagonist aura -50. Obtained villain aura +50. Ding! Yang Wuxian's mental state has exploded. The protagonist aura has been shattered. He has lost the protagonist status. There is no more fun to be had. Wang Haoren glanced at Yang Wuxian, who was still pretending to be asleep. He was a little dispirited. Chapter 145. Tang Bingyun still had work to do at the company, so she left first. Wang Haoren went to find Zhun Li to visit Ma Hongsheng with her. When Wang Haoren left, Zhun Li had already asked the nurse about Ma Hongsheng's ward. Zhun Li brought Wang Haoren to the best ward in Tianhui Clinic. Arriving at the door, Zhun Li wanted to raise her hand and knock on the door, but she heard a burst of noisy shouting coming from inside. For the sake of courtesy, Zhun Li did not knock on the door immediately. She decided to wait for a while. The noise and commotion inside sounded like a family conflict. As an outsider, it was inconvenient for her to get involved. She pretended not to hear anything. Wang Haoren used his X-ray vision to check the situation inside. There were 3 people in the ward. Ma Hongsheng was lying on the bed with his eyes closed. His chest rose and fell evenly. Obviously, he was in a deep sleep. Other than Ma Hongsheng, there was a man and a woman. They both looked to be in their 20s. The man was not good looking. He looked 70% similar to Ma Hongsheng. However, his expression and eyebrows were full of arrogance and insolence. He was completely different from the peaceful Ma Hongsheng. The young man must be Ma Hongsheng's son, Ma Weikai. That young woman's appearance and figure were particularly outstanding. She looked soft and weak, giving people a feeling that they would want to take pity on her. At this moment, the young woman was sitting by the bed, holding Ma Hongsheng's hand gently. Her expression was full of concern. Obviously, she was Ma Hongsheng's second wife, Cheng Rui. You don't need to take care of my father. Go back when I tell you to. Don't you have to take care of your son? Hurry up and leave. Ma Weikai stood aside and said in an unfriendly tone, There's a nanny at home. Don't worry. I'll stay and take care of Hongsheng. Cheng Rui's voice was very gentle and delicate. It sounded very comforting. My dad hasn't woken up yet. Stop pretending. Put away your mask. Ma Weikai sneered. I'm not pretending. I'm really just concerned about Hongsheng. That's why I wanted to stay and take care of him. Cheng Rui looked weak. You're really something, woman. My father is old and muddle-headed, but I'm not. What do you want by marrying my father at such a young age? Isn't it because of our family's property? How many times have I said it? I like Hongsheng's maturity, not his money. Moreover, when Hongsheng and I got married, we did a prenuptial notarization. You know that. Doing a prenuptial property notarization is exactly what you're good at, woman. Hearing Cheng Rui mention this, Ma Weikai felt angry. At first, he strongly opposed Cheng Rui marrying into the Ma family, but this woman took the initiative to notarize the property before marriage. If they divorced, she wouldn't get a penny. At that time, Ma Weikai saw her pitiful look, and with this notarization, he really believed it and didn't take this woman seriously. But not long after, Ma Weikai regretted it. Because Ma Hongsheng liked Cheng Rui very much, she got pregnant within a year and gave birth to a son. Therefore, Ma Hongsheng was more considerate and protective of Cheng Rui. Cheng Rui did notarize the property and didn't want a penny, but her father, Ma Hongsheng, was a very sentimental person. In the future, when Ma Hongsheng died, would he not give a penny to Cheng Rui and her son? How could this be possible? You really misunderstood me. Cheng Rui sighed deeply, and then noticed that Ma Hongsheng's hand suddenly moved slightly. Her eyes flashed, and she suddenly got up to pour a glass of water, handed it to Ma Weikai, and said gently, We're a family, and we should get along well. Drink a glass of water and calm down. Get out of here. Don't be hypocritical with me. Ma Weikai directly reached out and pushed the glass to the ground. Cheng Rui also staggered and fell to the ground. You bastard, what are you doing? Ma Hongxing woke up slowly and heard Ma Wei-Tsai shouting. At the same time, he caught a glimpse of Cheng Rui falling to the ground. He didn't care about anything else, got up from the bed, and reached out to help Cheng Rui up. But when he helped her, he found that Cheng Rui's palm was full of blood. Obviously, it was cut by the broken glass shards. Wang Haoren, who saw all this with his X-ray vision, looked at Cheng Rui in horror. When Cheng Rui fell, her hand was not cut by the shards. She deliberately pressed her hand against a piece of broken glass when she saw that Ma Hongxing was fully awake. She deliberately hurt herself to deepen Ma Wei-Tsai's sin, so as to make Ma Hongxing angry. She was so cruel to herself, this woman. "Rui, how are you?" Ma Hongxing asked with concern. I'm fine. Cheng Rui's face was pale, but she kept shaking her head and said with a comforting face, as if she was comforting Ma Hongxing, unfilial son. Ma Hongxing couldn't hold back and was furious at Ma Wei-Kai. He wanted to get up and slap him in the face. "Hongxing, it's not his fault. I accidentally fell." Cheng Rui frowned, but she forced a smile on her face and explained to Ma Hongxing. "Dad, did you hear that? She fell on her own. It's not my fault." Ma Wei-Kai saw his father's fierce look and couldn't help but take a step back and said embarrassedly, "Do you think I'm blind? I saw you. You were the one who pushed her." Ma Hongxing was furious. He broke free from Cheng Rui's hand and went in front of Ma Wei-Kai to give this unfilial son a big slap. At an angle that Ma Hongxing and Ma Wei-Kai couldn't see, the pitiful Cheng Rui's lips curled up slightly, revealing a scary and terrifying smile. But it was only for a moment. Wang Haoren caught Cheng Rui's expression and only felt that it was a little creepy. Cheng Rui was too scary. Ma Hongxing was the richest man in the world, so there must be a lot of beautiful women chasing after him. But only Cheng Rui could marry into the Ma family and give birth to a son for Ma Hongxing. It seemed that Cheng Rui wasn't lucky, but this woman was really not simple. After slapping his son, Ma Hongxing's anger subsided a little. Then, he took some tissues to Cheng Rui's side and helped her press the wound on her palm. "Unfilial son, why are you still standing here? Quickly call the doctor." Ma Hongxing yelled at Ma Wei-Kai. Ma Wei-Kai was very sullen, but he still didn't dare to disobey Ma Hongxing's words, so he walked towards the door. When Zhenli heard the commotion inside, she was at her wit's end. She could only use her hand to knock on the door and pretend that she had just arrived. Ma Wei-Kai was just about to go out, so he opened the door and asked Zhenli and Wang Haoren, "What are you doing here?" "I'm the CEO of National Beauty Heavenly Fragrance Beauty Group, Zhenli. This is my son. We're here to visit CEO Ma," Zhenli said with a pleasant expression. "What kind of lousy company is National Beauty Heavenly Fragrance? I've never heard of it." "Really, just any Tom, Dick, and Harry dares to call themselves the CEO. You want to see my dad? Hurry up and go as far as you can." Ma Wei-Kai was angry, so his attitude was bad, and he used a driving tone to drive them away. Zhenli was furious when she heard it. If she wasn't afraid of Ma Hongxing with her temper, she would have slapped Ma Wei-Tsai's face directly. "You bastard! How can you talk to a guest like that? Hurry up and invite the guest in." Ma Hongxing heard the voice at the door, so he scolded Ma Wei-Kai. Ma Wei-Kai pretended that he didn't hear it. He directly walked past Zhenli and went straight to the doctor. When he walked past, he even bumped into Zhenli with his shoulder. Zhenli's shoulder hurt from the bump, and she cried out in pain. Wang Haoren frowned and stared at Ma Wei-Tsai's back. His eyes narrowed slightly. Originally, he was still struggling with who to suppress and who to help, but at this moment he already had an answer in his heart. This Ma Wei-Tsai's good days were not far away. However, Cheng Rui was a woman with great ambition and was difficult to control. It was not an easy task to make her become his puppet and obediently work for him. Chapter 146. Wang Haoren made up his mind and walked into the ward with Zhenli. "Oh, it's Director Zhen. I'm sorry to have embarrassed myself. Please take a seat," Ma Hongxing said politely. He knew about Zhenli and Wang Xiang. They were both big shots in Qingling's business world. Naturally, he would show them respect. "Director Ma, it's my fault for disturbing you," Zhenli smiled politely. At the side, Wang Haoran placed a flower basket on the table. This is... Ma Hongsheng looked at Wang Haoran and asked Zhengli, "This is my son. He has heard so much about you, Director Ma. So he came with me to see your face," Zhengli explained. "What a talented man. Director Zhen, you have a good son," Ma Hongsheng praised, but in his heart he blamed his son for not living up to his expectations. On the other side, Ma Weikai was afraid of being scolded by his father, so he hurriedly called for a doctor. When the doctor arrived, he treated the wound on Cheng Rui's hand and wrapped it with gauze. "Does your hand still hurt?" Ma Hongsheng asked Cheng Rui with concern. "It doesn't hurt at all. I'm fine," Cheng Rui said gently. If Wang Haoran hadn't seen Cheng Rui's subtle actions just now, he would have thought that she was a virtuous wife and mother from her expression and tone. "If Are didn't plead for you, I would have broken your legs today," Ma Hongsheng said to Ma Weikai. "Hurry up and thank your mother." Ma Weikai couldn't help but roll his eyes. This woman was 1 year younger than him. He really couldn't call her mother. However, under Ma Hongsheng's stern gaze, he still said to Cheng Rui unwillingly, "You're so generous. You are really magnanimous. Thank you. Thank you to your whole family." "Bastard. How can you say that?" Ma Hongsheng's suppressed anger flared up again. Ma Weikai glanced at Zheng Li and Wang Haoran in disgust and said to Ma Hongsheng, "Dad, there are people who have nothing to do with us here. You keep calling them bastards. Where am I supposed to put my face? Useless thing. You only know how to indulge in wine and women all day long. You don't do anything serious at all. It's your own fault for not living up to expectations and being scolded by me. Now you know that you've lost face, right?" Ma Hongsheng didn't mind the presence of outsiders. His attitude still didn't change. "I need to go to the toilet." Ma Weikai felt that he couldn't stay any longer. He found an excuse and left in a huff. However, before he left, he glared fiercely at Zheng Li and Wang Haoran. Obviously, he felt that these two people were really in the way. "Hongsheng, you must be hungry since you just woke up. I'll get something for you to eat," Cheng Rui said with a gentle face and concern. "Your hand is injured. Wait for that bastard to come back. Let him go. It's not a problem. I'm just going to get some food. I'll use my other hand to get it," Cheng Rui insisted. After saying that, she didn't wait for Ma Hongsheng to persuade her and directly walked out of the door. Ma Hongsheng looked at Cheng Rui's delicate back and couldn't help but sigh in his heart. He really married a good wife who was considerate. Zheng Li came to visit. Of course, she wouldn't just stay for a few minutes and leave. While there was no one to disturb her, she chatted with Ma Hongsheng about some business matters. Wang Haoran wasn't interested in listening to this. He quietly left the ward. After he left, he went to the corridor. Coincidentally, a nurse passed by. "Miss Nurse, may I know where the canteen is?" Wang Haoran asked. "Go straight there. You'll see the canteen after you go out the back door," the nurse replied. "Thank you." Wang Haoran nodded and quickly found the canteen according to the instructions. Tianhui Clinic's standards were very high. Although it was a canteen, the food inside was at the level of a 5-star hotel. When they arrived at the entrance of the canteen, Wang Haoran didn't enter. Instead, he waited at the door. Not long after, she saw a delicate figure walking out with packed food in her hands. "Hello." When Cheng Rui saw Wang Haoran, she smiled and greeted him politely. Then, she was about to walk past Wang Haoran and return to the ward. However, Wang Haoran reached out and stopped her. "Is there anything I can help you with?" Cheng Rui didn't get angry. She maintained a gentle smile and asked, "Aren't you tired of using a fake face to talk?" Wang Haoran asked with a playful smile. "I'm really sorry. Did I offend you in any way? If you did, I can apologize to you," Cheng Rui said sincerely. Cheng Rui's actions and demeanor looked kind and gentle. She didn't have the arrogance of a rich man's wife. She was a natural-born movie queen. Ma Weikai is still Ma Hongsheng's eldest son. No matter how you try to slander him, he's still Ma Hongsheng's eldest son. This won't change. 20 years of fatherly love isn't something you can easily destroy. Wang Haoran didn't beat around the bush and went straight to the point. "I don't understand what you're talking about." Cheng Rui looked innocent. "I can help you get what you want." Wang Haoran looked at Cheng Rui and said in a bewitching tone, I just want to be a quiet wife and raise my children. I don't care about anything else. Chung Rui smiled and walked past Wang Haoran with the food. She quickened her pace and walked toward the ward. Wang Haoran followed closely. When they passed by a storeroom, he grabbed Chung Rui's wrist and led her into the storeroom. Bang! Wang Haoran locked the door. Now that there's no one else here, can we talk? If I tell Hong Sheng that someone is trying to do something to me, you'll have to bear the consequences. Chung Rui first warned and then resumed her gentle tone. However, I won't do that because I believe you're a gentleman. So, can you let me go? I'll pretend that nothing happened. You're a weak woman. Ma Weikai is an unreasonable playboy. If you really piss him off, you'll be the one to suffer. Wang Haoran raised his eyebrows slightly. And I can help you. I can help you deal with Ma Weikai and help you get all of Ma Hongxing's assets. After that, I only want 10% of Ma Hongxing's assets. This is a mutually beneficial deal. Do you want to consider it? I'm just a woman. As long as I have enough money, I won't ask for anything else. Wang Haoran shrugged and felt slightly disheartened. His charm value had reached 568. If it was an ordinary woman, she would have been mesmerized by him. However, Chung Rui was still rational and clear-headed. She wasn't bewitched at all. Her vigilance was too strong. It was impossible to persuade her with words. Handsome men's attacks were ineffective against her. This kind of woman was born to do great things. She was two-faced, scheming, rational, ruthless, and immune to men's charms. If she was by the side of an ancient emperor, she would definitely be a champion in the palace and sit firmly on the throne. If she was a little more ambitious, she might even become an empress. How terrifying! Chapter 147. A woman like Chung Rui wouldn't be able to gain her trust with just a few words. She was simply too cautious. Wang Haoran understood that tricking her wasn't something that could be done in a short period of time. Chung Rui wasn't the female lead, so Wang Haoran didn't have the patience to waste time with her. Thinking of this, Wang Haoran directly contacted the system. The charm aura only had a cooldown once every 72 hours. He had already used it on Yang Jingwan 3 days ago, so the cooldown was just about up. Wang Haoran originally only planned on using it on the female lead since it could only be used once every 3 days. Before coming here, Wang Haoran didn't even think about using the charm aura on Chung Rui. First, Chung Rui wasn't the female lead, and second, she was someone else's wife. Wang Haoran wasn't Chao Amon, so of course he didn't have any thoughts about Chung Rui. At first, Wang Haoran only wanted to use a fake cooperation to slowly control Chung Rui. But Chung Rui was ambitious, rational, and smart. The key was that she was ruthless to herself. Without using some special methods, it was impossible to turn Chung Rui into a puppet. Thus, Wang Haoran had the idea of using the charm aura. Thinking of this, Wang Haoran gave the system an order to use the charm aura on Chung Rui. Ding! The host used the charm aura on the supporting female, lead Chung Rui. Chung Rui's favorability towards the host has increased to 100. After receiving the system's notification, Wang Haoran looked at Chung Rui and watched her expression change. Her delicate and pitiful face suddenly revealed an intoxicated look of tenderness, but it was gone in a flash. Wang Haoran paused, then probingly asked Chung Rui again, "Can we have a frank and honest talk now? My husband is still waiting to eat. Please let me leave, otherwise he'll be anxious." Chung Rui said with a slightly serious expression. Hearing this, Wang Haoran couldn't help but frown. This Chung Rui clearly didn't want to talk properly, and instead used Ma Hongsheng to threaten him. Wang Haoran was puzzled. He wondered if the charm halo was a fake. Otherwise, why would Chung Rui still have such an attitude? Wang Haoran didn't know what to do for the time being, so he decided to let Chung Rui leave first. But before he opened the door, he used his X-ray vision to check the situation outside. At this moment, Ma Weikai, who had just come out of the bathroom, was walking towards the storeroom. He was about to pass by the storeroom to return to Ma Hongxing's ward. Wang Haoran had an idea. He directly opened the door and said to Chung Rui, "Chung Rui, I'm sorry. Sorry to disturb you. You can go." The corners of Chung Rui's mouth lifted slightly, as if she was pleased with herself. Then, she walked out of the storeroom. Wang Haoran followed closely behind her. "What are you doing hiding in here?" Ma Weikai, who was passing by the door of the utility room, saw Wang Haoran and Cheng Rui walking out and was surprised. Cheng Rui's expression changed slightly. She was about to explain. "We didn't do anything. Don't talk nonsense." Wang Haoran pretended to panic and explained impatiently. Ma Wei's brain wasn't very good, but when he saw the situation, he immediately came up with a lot of ideas. Cheng Rui, you've finally shown your foxtail. You actually went on a date with a handsome guy behind my dad's back. You're really something." Ma Weikai felt that he had caught on to something and was instantly excited. As he spoke, he turned to look at Wang Haoran with a look of praise and admiration. "You're really something. You actually managed to get Cheng Rui." After he felt threatened by Cheng Rui, he had looked for all kinds of handsome guys to use his beauty to trick Cheng Rui. But unfortunately, Cheng Rui didn't fall for it. Now that he saw Wang Haoran and Cheng Rui on a date, he couldn't help but admire them. From Ma Wei's point of view, Wang Haoran had unintentionally helped him. "You've misunderstood. Cheng Rui and I only talked for a while in the utility room. We didn't do anything. We're innocent." Wang Haoran walked in front of Ma Weikai and patted him on the shoulder. Ma Weikai felt as if a mosquito had bitten him on the shoulder, but he didn't care at all. That was because his attention was on Wang Haoran's words. From his point of view, Wang Haoran's eagerness to clear his name proved that there was something going on with Cheng Rui. "I believe you. I just don't know if my dad believes it." Then, Ma Weikai chuckled and walked quickly toward the ward. It was obvious that he was going to complain to Ma Hongsheng. "Are you crazy? Nothing happened, but you purposely explained it. Now you're making things worse. If Hongsheng really believes you, you're dead." Cheng Rui said to Wang Haoran as she saw Ma Weikai slip away to complain. She gradually lost her rationality and lost control of her emotions. Hearing this, Wang Haoran's mind moved. He couldn't help but take another look at Cheng Rui. Although Cheng Rui was reprimanding him, the focus of her words wasn't to blame Wang Haoran for causing trouble for her. Instead, she was worried about Wang Haoran's safety. Was Cheng Rui a kind person? Would she be concerned about Wang Haoran out of kindness? Of course, that was impossible. It seemed that it wasn't that the 100 points of favorability were useless, but that Cheng Rui was too good at controlling her emotions. "Are you worried about me?" Although Wang Haoran wasn't like Chao Amon, in order to suppress the strength of the shameless Wargoods faction, he could only barely flirt with Cheng Rui. "Who's worried about you? You asked for it. You deserve to die." Cheng Rui sneered and immediately turned to walk toward Ma Hongsheng's ward. Wang Haoran couldn't help but chuckle. This woman didn't admit it, but her actions were quite honest. Thinking of this, Wang Haoran also slowly walked toward the ward. He wasn't in a hurry at all. The reason why he deliberately gave Ma Weikai a handle was to force Cheng Rui to cooperate with him. As for whether this would cause Ma Hongsheng's anger, he didn't care about it at all. Ma Hongsheng was a hardcore supporting character in the shameless Wargoods faction. The possibility of him defecting was very small. In Wang Haoran's plan, Ma Hongsheng would get into trouble sooner or later. Otherwise, how could Ma Hongsheng's assets be rightfully in Cheng Rui's hands? "What did you say? You saw Rui and President Zhen's son having a tryst?" In the ward, Ma Hongsheng was slightly shocked after hearing Ma Wei's narration. "It's absolutely true. I saw them come out of the utility room with my own eyes," Ma Weikai said with spittle flying everywhere. When Zhenli heard it, her heart suddenly thumped. In her opinion, her son was so outstanding that he could get any woman. It wasn't impossible for him to hook up with Cheng Rui. After all, that Cheng Rui was quite beautiful. However, if it was true, they would be troublesome. This Ma Hongsheng seemed to be peaceful, but this was related to his wife and the Ma family's reputation. If he was furious, the consequences would be unimaginable. Ma Hongsheng frowned when he heard it. He didn't immediately respond. He was a more rational person. He wouldn't suspect Cheng Rui just because of Ma Wei's words. Chapter 148. Cheng Rui walked into the room. "She's here. Dad, you can ask her yourself if you don't believe me." Ma Weikai pointed at Cheng Rui proudly. "Rui, Wei Kai said you went into the storeroom with someone. Ma Hongsheng said tentatively. Yes. Cheng Rui nodded. There were surveillance cameras in the hallway. They would know that she went into the storeroom with Wang Haoren if they checked the footage. She wasn't stupid enough to argue about it. Then what do you want to say? Ma Hongsheng felt a little uncomfortable in his heart, and his voice was a lot lower. As a man, he couldn't stand being labeled by his wife. I know it's useless to explain it with words, but I'll prove it with my actions. Cheng Rui was calm. She walked to Ma Hongsheng and put down a lunchbox. Then, she picked up a glass and dropped it. Bang! The glass shattered on the ground. Cheng Rui picked up a piece of broken glass and retreated to the corner. Then, she pressed the glass against her neck. Rui, don't be rash. Let's talk this out. Ma Hongsheng's expression changed. Dad, she's just bluffing. She dares to, Ma Weikai said disdainfully. But before he could finish, Cheng Rui rubbed the glass on her neck. Then, blood splattered from the air. In an instant, half of Cheng Rui's clothes were dyed red. She slowly leaned against the wall and fell. Ma Weikai screamed in fear. Zhen Li's face was pale as well. Rui, why are you so stupid? I should have believed you. I was wrong. Ma Hongsheng was scared out of his wits. He quickly went to support Cheng Rui. Wang Haoren, who had just walked into the room, was also shocked by the scene. He thought that Cheng Rui would use many ways to explain their meeting in the storeroom. But he didn't think that Cheng Rui would use such an extreme method. He quickly used his X-ray vision to check Cheng Rui. But soon, he realized that the wound on Cheng Rui's neck had avoided the carotid artery. It wasn't fatal. As long as the bleeding was stopped in time, her life wouldn't be in danger. And this was a hospital. Cheng Rui would definitely be treated in time. All of this didn't seem to be a coincidence. Cheng Rui did it on purpose. This woman was really not an ordinary kind of ruthless. There were too many fatal points on the neck. If he was not careful, he would die. But even so, Cheng Rui still dared to do it. Wang Haoren shuddered at the thought of such courage and ruthlessness. But on second thought, he relaxed a little. Cheng Rui did this mostly to protect herself. There were surveillance cameras in the corridor. If Cheng Rui wanted to prove her innocence, she could have asked for the surveillance footage. The surveillance camera clearly showed that Cheng Rui was forcibly dragged into the utility room. But if that was the case, Ma Hongsheng would definitely vent his anger on Wang Haoren. Cheng Rui didn't want anything to happen to Wang Haoren, but at the same time, she didn't want to lose Ma Hongsheng's trust. She had chosen such a desperate and extreme way of taking risks. Fortunately, Cheng Rui's luck was good and she didn't find the wrong place. Otherwise, she would have died. Of course, even if he managed to avoid the fatal spot, he still needed to stop the bleeding in time. Wang Haoren immediately called the doctor over. After a while, the doctor came to help Cheng Rui stop the bleeding. Cheng Rui was sent to a new recuperation ward. Her face was very pale because of the blood loss, but her life wasn't in danger. She was just a little weak. Ma Hongsheng was so scared that he didn't mention why Cheng Rui went to the utility room. He didn't even ask Wang Haoren any questions. In his opinion, Cheng Rui was using her death to prove her innocence. If he still doubted her, would he still be human? However, even if Ma Hongsheng didn't mention it, Ma Weikai couldn't hold it in. Dad, are you just going to let this go? He finally got the chance to attack Cheng Rui. Now, that Cheng Rui made such a fuss and let it go, he couldn't take it lying down. Get out. Ma Hongsheng was afraid that he would agitate Cheng Rui again and cause her to do something stupid. Dad, you've been cuckolded. How can you hold it in? Ma Weikai was so angry that he couldn't help but blurt out. Get out, get out. Ma Hongsheng said angrily. This woman betrayed you. You can't forgive her. Why didn't you divorce her? Why did you keep her for the new year? Ma Weikai was agitated. Ma Hongsheng slapped Ma Weikai. Are you done? No. Ma Weikai covered his face. He was very angry, as if he couldn't control his emotions. This woman was caught having a tryst with a man today. Who knows how long this has been going on? You'd better bring this woman's son for a DNA test. It's still a question whether he's your son. You unfilial son. Rui is so loyal to me. How could she do such a thing? If you slander her again, believe it or not, I'll cut off all ties with you. Ma Hongsheng was furious. Loyalty, my ass. Only a fool like you would believe that. If you didn't have money, would she fall for an old man like you? Ma Weikai was bewitched. He didn't care about the consequences of his words. You, get out, get out. Ma Hongsheng was so angry that he punched and kicked Ma Weikai out. Ma Weikai was furious. He looked at the door for a while before he left unwillingly. Cheng Rue saw this scene and couldn't help but feel a little confused. She now had a deeper understanding of Ma Weikai. Although Ma Weikai was a playboy, he was not stupid. Why didn't he restrain himself when he saw Ma Hongsheng so angry? Why did he provoke Ma Hongsheng? This was quite different from his usual behavior. After Ma Weikai left, Ma Hongsheng felt sleepy again, so he asked the nurse to send him back to his ward. Only Wang Haoran, Cheng Rue, and Zhenli were left in the room. Son, let's go back, Zhenli said. You go and get the car. I'll be right there. Zhenli nodded and left to get the car. You could have pushed the blame to me. Why did you choose to prove yourself in this way? Wang Haoran had already guessed the reason, but he deliberately asked. Cheng Rue's eyes were complicated. She was born indifferent to the relationship between men and women, even cold-blooded. She had never liked any man before. However, seeing that this matter might implicate Wang Haoran, in order to protect Wang Haoran and gain Ma Hongsheng's trust, she made such a decision. She didn't understand. She had only met Wang Haoran once. Why did she think so much for Wang Haoran? She even gambled with her life. It felt like she was possessed. Even after she did so, she didn't regret it. Instead, she felt lucky, because her main purpose was achieved. Ma Hongsheng didn't pursue Wang Haoran's responsibility. You don't need to care. Stay away from me in the future. Cheng Rue avoided Wang Haoran's gaze. She had tried her best, but she found that she couldn't control her emotions. Therefore, she could only keep the person who affected her emotions away. I said I wanted to work with you. I've shown you my sincerity. You're not going to fall out with me, are you? Wang Haoran said lightly. Sincerity? Cheng Rue thought about it carefully. She quickly reacted and said in surprise, Ma Wei's abnormal mood and behavior have something to do with you. This is just the beginning. With this playboy's way of doing things, he'll soon cause a big mess. Wang Haoran smiled mysteriously. What did you do to him? Cheng Rue was curious. This is a secret. If you want to know, you'll have to exchange your secret for it. What secret do you want to know? For example, madam, what's your size? Cheng Rue's expression changed. She warned coldly. Please conduct yourself with dignity. Wang Haoran smiled without saying anything. He took a piece of paper and wrote his number on it, then handed it to Cheng Rue. Cheng Rue took the paper and tore it up expressionlessly. Wang Haoran didn't mind. After smiling, he turned and walked out of the room. However, after walking out of the room, Wang Haoran glanced into the room with his X-ray vision. Cheng Rue removed her cold facade. She collected the torn pieces of paper in a slight panic and began to piece them together. Wang Haoran smiled secretly. It seemed that the cooperation was successful. Chapter 149. At night, Ma Hongsheng was worried about Cheng Rue when he woke up, so he left his room to check on her. Cheng Rue had not rested yet, but was reading an economics book. Ma Hongsheng was not surprised at all, because this was a habit of Cheng Rue. Cheng Rue was a top student from a famous school, and she was very knowledgeable. She was not like other rich ladies who were obsessed with dressing up and maintaining themselves, but she liked to read, and she often stayed up late into the night. Ma Hongsheng was quite happy about this. Am I disturbing you? Seeing Cheng Rue put down the book and looked over, Ma Hongsheng smiled and asked, I'm just reading to pass the time. How could I be disturbed? Cheng Rue returned to her gentle appearance and responded, How do you feel? Does the wound on your neck still hurt? Ma Hongsheng looked concerned. I'm fine. Don't do such stupid things in the future. Ma Hongsheng looked distressed. In his opinion, Cheng Rue cared too much about him, so she chose to die to show her sincerity. While speaking, Ma Hongsheng walked to Cheng Rue's side, wanting to grab her hand and chat with her. However, Cheng Rue suddenly reflexively retracted her hand before Ma Hongsheng could touch her hand. Are you still angry because I don't trust you? Ma Hongsheng saw Cheng Rue's resistance. So he quickly said. Chung Rue's heart was complicated. She retracted her hand, not because Ma Hongsheng did not trust her, but because she was somewhat resistant to Ma Hongsheng touching her. This feeling was like a man's mark was engraved in her heart, so she could not let another man touch her peacefully. Therefore, there was a sense of resistance. I apologize to you, it's my fault. Ma Hongsheng saw that Chung Rue did not speak for a long time and only thought that she was still angry, but he did not know that she was thinking of another man. Chung Rue did not pay attention to Ma Hongsheng's words at all. Fortunately, before Ma Hongsheng could detect anything, a phone rang. Ma Hongsheng answered the call. The person on the phone said something, and Ma Hongsheng's face became angry and manic at a speed that was visible to the naked eye. Unfilial son, unfilial son. After listening to the phone, Ma Hongsheng lost control of his emotions and immediately stomped his feet and shouted. What happened? Chung Rue was awakened by Ma Hongsheng's actions and immediately recovered. The lawyer called and said that the unfilial son was drinking with some bad friends. I don't know why he got into a conflict with someone. He picked up a beer bottle and smashed it on the person's head, causing the person to be seriously injured. He's being sent to the emergency room now, Ma Hongsheng said resentfully. The lawyer said that this unfilial son is suspected of attempted murder and has been arrested. Chung Rue was slightly taken aback. Although Ma Weikai was messing around before, he still had some sense of propriety. Now that he had caused such a big incident, it was really beyond his expectations. However, she suddenly recalled some of the words that Wang Haoren had said and immediately understood. Ma Weikai had caused a lot of trouble this time. If the injured person could be saved, then Ma Weicai's crime would be lessened. If he couldn't be saved, he would probably have to sit in jail for 10 to 20 years at the very least. The outside world must have changed in the span of 10 to 20 years. To Chung Rue, this was a great thing. Rue, you rest first. I'll go talk to the lawyer and find out more about the situation. Ma Hongsheng's mind was in a mess. After saying goodbye to Chung Rue, he immediately left. After Ma Hongsheng left, Chung Rue picked up a piece of paper with a phone number written on it from under her pillow. After a slight hesitation, she sent a friend request to the phone number on WeChat. On the other side, Wang Haoren was eating at the couple's restaurant. When he saw a notification on WeChat, he clicked it open and saw that there was a note attached to the notification. 91, 58, 89. Wang Haoren didn't understand these three sets of numbers, but he still accepted the friend request. I want to know, what did you do to Ma Weikai? Chung Rue couldn't suppress the doubts in her heart and sent a message. Seeing the tone of this message, Wang Haoren immediately recognized that it was from Chung Rue. I said it's a secret. Wang Haoren replied. I told you the secret you wanted to know. Now it's your turn to tell me. Chung Rue sent a message. Wang Haoren subconsciously froze. Only then did he realize the meaning of the three sets of numbers, 91, 58, 89. Such an outstanding 3D model could even become a supermodel. However, he had some doubts. Was Chung Rue's figure that good? When he saw Chung Rue during the day, she was wearing loose clothes. Wang Haoren really didn't pay much attention to her figure. Plus, he didn't have any strange thoughts about Chung Rue, so he naturally didn't use his X-ray vision to look. He didn't know if Chung Rue was telling the truth. He made up his mind that the next time he saw Chung Rue, he must pay attention to see if Chung Rue was lying. If you don't keep your word, how can I cooperate with you? Seeing that Wang Haoren didn't reply, Chung Rue urged. I gave him some neurotoxins that will make him very irritable. Wang Haoren confessed. He wasn't afraid that Chung Rue would tell. Firstly, Ma Weikai was a thorn in Chung Rue's heart. Secondly, in order to protect him, Chung Rue was willing to gamble with her life. How could she betray him? How did you poison Ma Weikai? Seeing Wang Haoren's explanation, Chung Rue completely understood, but she still had some doubts. Because Wang Haoren was almost always in her field of vision, she didn't see any signs of Wang Haoren poisoning Ma Weikai. This is another secret. Wang Haoren certainly wouldn't say it out loud. What do you want to know? Ask. Chung Rue was also very smart and immediately understood Wang Haoren's meaning. What are you wearing? Take a picture and let me see. blue and white hospital gown. You've seen a lot in the hospital, but if you want to see, I'll take a picture and show it to you. You don't think I want to see your hospital gown, do you? Wang Haoran thought it was a bit funny, so he sent this message. However, there was no response from Cheng Rue. Wang Haoran didn't rush her. He just put his phone aside and focused on eating with Tang Bingyan. He asked about her 3 measurements, and Cheng Rue would be conflicted from afternoon to night. Now that he asked this, she would probably be conflicted for a longer time. Of course, the reason why Wang Haoran asked this was not because he had a bad taste or because he was interested in her. Instead, he wanted to slowly break down Cheng Rue's psychological defenses. This was because Cheng Rue was too good at controlling her emotions. In order to work with her happily in the future, he had to make her obedient and obedient. Otherwise, how could he make her a puppet? Late at night, Tang Bingyun had fallen asleep because she was too tired. Wang Haoran was full of energy and didn't feel sleepy at the moment, so he casually flipped through his phone for a while. Through the monitoring virus, Wang Haoran found that Yang Jingwan was still awake and was using her phone. He could see the screen of Yang Jingwan's phone from a distance. Out of curiosity, he projected the image of Yang Jingwan's phone onto his own phone to see what she was looking at. Chapter 150. Late at night, in one of the bedrooms, Yang Jingwan wasn't sleepy. She was scrolling through the messages in her class group. Xiao Xingma, it's so hard to work overtime at this hour. Wei Yi, what kind of work are you working so late? Fire the boss. Xiao Xingma, I'm the boss. Wei Yi, Xiao Xingma, I just used 50 million to register an advertising company. I'm so busy all day. It's so tiring. Wei Yi, boss, please cozy up to me. Long road ahead. Ditto. Beauty in autumn water. Wow, as expected of the class monitor. He's doing so well in just 1 or 2 years after graduation. I'm so envious. Lioli, is the class monitor still single? Do you need a girlfriend? What do you think of me? Posted a neat selfie. Beauty in autumn water. Save it. Who doesn't know that the class monitor is infatuated with Beauty Yang? Why would he like you? Lioli, I'm so sad, Xiao Shima, 1-1. Beauty Yang, come out and say something. Long road ahead. Xiao Xingma, Beauty Yang seems to be married. You have no hope. Xiao Xingma, don't slander my goddess. She's only been out of school for 1 or 2 years. How could she be married? My lady in autumn water. Really? Beauty Yang is so good at school. She has so many guys chasing after her, but she doesn't like any of them. She's married so soon? Lioliet, I'll come out and ask. Xiao Xingma, Wan beauty in autumn water. Wan a lonely wolf in the wind. Wan more sad than sad. Wan Weniweyu. Wan. Yang Jingwan only wanted to observe in secret. She didn't expect that everyone would mention her. She looked at the long string of ads and felt a headache coming on. After thinking about it, she decided to say something. Wan, I'm married, Xiao Xingma. A string of heartbroken emojis, Yuing. A black guy asking a good question, little star. Nanny? More than 20 people flooded the screen with all kinds of shocked and incredulous emojis. Those who were lurking in the dark all came out. Xiao Xingma, Wan. Tell me, is this true? You must be lying, right? Wan, I'm really married. Xiao Xingma, who's your husband? What does he do? When Yang Jingwan saw this message, she felt depressed. If everyone knew that Su Lang was just a house husband, she would lose all her face. When she was in university, she was recognized as the campus belle and a popular figure in the school. She had countless suitors. At that time, even Yang Jingwan thought she was going to marry a rich and handsome man. However, the truth was the complete opposite. She eventually married a homeless man she picked up from the streets. Only Xiao Shima. Don't ask. If you ask, he will definitely be richer and more handsome than you. The road is long at 111. Last time, we only heard you mention that you were married, but we don't know who your husband is. Tell us. We are all curious. More sad than sad. Is there even need to ask? Campus Belle Yang must have met a rich, handsome, and infatuated Mr. Right. Otherwise, how could she get married so quickly? Xiao Xingma. We haven't kept in touch since we left school. Why don't we all get together? Only Xiao Xingma. Fine, you still won't give up. My lady in autumn water. Yeah, we haven't seen each other in a long time. Let's meet up. Lioli, I agree. Yuing, ditto. But who will organize it? Lioli, of course it will be the class leader. Xiao Shima. Xiao Shima at Wanwan. Which city are you in? Wanwan. Qingling. Xiao Shima. Then let's set the location of the gathering in Qingling. Students who are free can come together. Under the organization of the class leader, Xiao Xingma, the decision of the gathering was quickly reached. About 20 students expressed that they would come. The time was set for tomorrow evening. Xiao Xingma at Wanwan. Remember to bring your husband over when the time comes. Wanwan, it's a class gathering. Why would I bring my family? Xiao Xingma. Everyone is curious. Bring him over. Only, that's right. Let's worship him. What kind of man can capture Campus Bell Yang's heart? The road is long at Wanwan. Bring him over for us to see. Many people cheered. Yang Jingwan felt a headache coming on. Could she bring that trash, Su Lang, out to meet others? As a woman, she more or less had some vanity. She was too ashamed to let everyone know that she married a trash. Wanwan, no, I won't bring him. Xiao Xingma, that's boring. Are you afraid that our poor classmates will ask your husband for help? Is that why you won't bring him? Only. +1 lunar shadow. +1 Lioli. +1. Yang Jingwan was morally kidnapped. She couldn't back down at all and was forced to agree. Wanwan, then I'll bring my husband over. After Yang Jingwan sent this message, the students were filled with anticipation and curiosity. However, Yang Jingwan wasn't in the mood to read the message. Instead, she was thinking about how to deal with the class gathering the day after tomorrow. If she brought the trash Su Lang over, it definitely wouldn't work. After thinking about it, Yang Jingwan decided to dress him up. Su Lang wasn't a handsome guy. He definitely couldn't meet the standards. But his height was okay. If she helped him dress up, he could barely pretend to be a rich and successful person. However, it was already late at night. Of course, Yang Jingwan wouldn't look for him at this time. She planned to tell him tomorrow. After all, the gathering was tomorrow evening. There was still time. Putting the phone on the bedside table, Yang Jingwan prepared to rest. Buzz. Her phone vibrated. Yang Jingwan was a little surprised. She didn't want to disturb the group chat. It was already so late. Who would send a message? She took the phone back and looked at it. When she saw the name of her friend, she couldn't help but feel happy. Young Master Wang, I helped you so much. As a friend, aren't you going to treat me to a meal? Wan, I was afraid that you would be busy, so I didn't mention it. How about the day after tomorrow? I'll treat you to a meal. Young Master Wang, I'm not free the day after tomorrow. I'm free tomorrow. How about tomorrow? Yang Jingwan had to work during the day, so she obviously wasn't free. If she wanted to treat him, she could only do it at night. Wan, I can't tomorrow. I have to go to a class gathering. Young Master Wang, it's okay. I can go with you. You should have a class gathering anyway, right? Wan, that won't work. Yang Jingwan was planning to bring Su Lang. If Wang Haoran came too, wouldn't the scene be different? Young Master Wang, judging by your tone, you obviously don't treat me as a friend. Okay then, I helped you for nothing. Let's not contact each other anymore. Wang Haoran had confidence in his heart, so he played the game of loosening the reins only to grasp them better. Yang Jingwan was in love with him. How could she bear to cut off contact with him? As expected, Yang Jingwan immediately replied with a message. Wan, no. That's not what I meant. Young Master Wang, are you going to treat me to a meal tomorrow? Wan, of course. But can you promise me a small condition? Young Master Wang, what condition? Wan, I can't explain it clearly through a message. Let's talk about it in person. Also, try to dress more mature. Wang Haoran had already guessed what Yang Jingwan meant, but he didn't point it out. He also didn't ask any questions. Instead, he quickly typed a reply. Young Master Wang, okay. I'll pick you up tomorrow. See you there. Wan, okay. See you there. Chapter 151. The next day, at 6 p.m., at a certain sales branch of the Qin Corporation, Wang Haoran parked his McLaren outside the sales branch and sent a message to Yang Jingwan. A while later, Young Master Wang, I hope I didn't keep you waiting. Yang Jingwan had just gotten off work. When she saw the message, She rushed over without even changing out of her work clothes. I just got here too. Why didn't you dress more maturely? Yang Jingwan asked curiously as she looked at Wang Haoran and noticed that he was wearing casual clothes. You can't expect me to wear a suit to class, right? Wang Haoran laughed. Haha, you're right. I was confused, Yang Jingwan said embarrassedly. But I'm curious. Why did you ask me to dress more maturely? Wang Haoran asked deliberately. That Yang Jingwan wanted to say something, but stopped. If you have something to say, then say it. Actually, I made plans with my classmates to take my husband to a class reunion, so Yang Jingwan's face turned red. So you're saying that you want me to pretend to be your husband? Wang Haoran smiled. If the shameless god of war found out about this, he would probably vomit blood. Yes, Yang Jingwan nodded with a red face. So that's it. No problem. Let's go. We're going to the reunion, just like this? Yang Jingwan froze. Of course not. Didn't you say that the reunion would start at 7 p.m.? There's still time to prepare. Get in the car. Yang Jingwan got into the front passenger seat of the McLaren. Where are we going? We're going to change our outfit, of course. As he spoke, Wang Haoran stepped on the accelerator. The McLaren flew out of the car. Yang Jingwan was shocked. It was her first time sitting in a sports car like this. She wasn't used to it, but it was quite exciting. What brand is this? Yang Jingwan looked at the inverted hook logo on the steering wheel and felt it was unfamiliar, so she asked curiously. Her knowledge of supercar brands was limited. She only knew Nio and Ma. She didn't know much about other brands. McLaren, Wang Haoran replied. This car belonged to Tang Bingyan. When he was having dinner with Tang Bingyan last night, he casually told Tang Bingyan that this car was pretty cool. Tang Bingyan directly gave the key to Wang Haoran and told him to open it as he pleased. Since they needed a car today, Wang Haoran drove the McLaren over. McLaren? Yang Jingwan froze for a moment. This was the first time she had heard of this name. Then this car must cost $1 million each, right? In her opinion, McLaren was not as famous as Ox and Horse, so it would definitely be cheaper than Ox and Horse. She wasn't wrong to understand it this way. However, it still depended on the configuration of the supercar. Something like that. Wang Haoran didn't explain further. He just smiled. A class reunion was a place where the protagonist frequently showed off and slapped people's faces. There was bound to be a plot. Wang Haoran took Su Lang's car in advance to attend the reunion with Yang Jingwan. Why would he drive a cheap supercar over? Not long after, the two drove to Qing Ling Global Shopping Mall. It took Wang Haoran about 10 minutes to pick out a set of clothes. His facial features were sharp and tough. In such a suit, Wang Haoran suddenly looked a lot more mature. The process of buying clothes was very smooth. The shop assistant couldn't be more enthusiastic. After all, he wasn't the protagonist in those melodramatic novels. He was a supervillain. Naturally, he wouldn't be looked down upon by the shop assistant and then show off and slap people's faces. Is it okay? Wang Haoran thought it was good, so he asked Yang Jingwan. However, Yang Jingwan didn't respond. He turned his head to look. He saw Yang Jingwan staring straight at him. Her eyes didn't blink as if she was in a daze. Ding! The host has stirred up the heart of the female lead, Yang Jingwan. Received 200 villain points. Wang Haoran received the system notification and was secretly happy. The change brought about by the increase in charm was too obvious. Just by dressing up, he could stir up the female lead's heart. Miss Yang, are you okay? Seeing that Yang Jingwan didn't respond for a while, Wang Haoran deliberately raised his voice and asked. Yang Jingwan woke up. She knew that she had lost her composure. She felt very embarrassed and couldn't help but lower her head. What do you think of my outfit? Wang Haoran asked again. It's not just okay. It's so handsome. Yang Jingwan heard this and looked at Wang Haoran again. She praised him from the bottom of her heart. After dressing up like this, Wang Haoran's actual age increased by a few years, and he looked quite compatible with her. If they went to a class reunion and she told everyone that he was her husband, her classmates wouldn't suspect anything. Thinking of this, Yang Jingwan looked at herself in the mirror and suddenly felt a little hesitant. Earlier, Wang Haoran had urged her so much that she had forgotten to change out of her salesperson uniform. If she went like this compared to Wang Haoran, she would look too shabby. Let's go to the women's section. Wang Haoran noticed the change in Yang Jingwan's expression, so he immediately said, And okay, Yang Jingwan had the same idea, so she immediately nodded. The two arrived at the women's section. This one, and this one. Take them all and try them on, Wang Howard said to Yang Jingwan as he picked out a few beautiful dresses. Yang Jingwan looked at the dresses. They were quite beautiful, and she immediately wanted to try them on. However, when she saw the frightening prices, she immediately said in a panic, "Let's not. I don't think so. I'll pick something else. Just try them on. You don't have to buy them." "Hurry up," Wang Howard urged. "Okay then." Yang Jingwan saw that the dresses were indeed beautiful, so she went along with Wang Howard's wishes. She tried on 3 dresses in total. Every time she changed in the fitting room, she would come out and ask for Wang Howard's opinion. In the end, the two of them agreed that a light pink dress that was just above the knees was the most beautiful. It was intellectual and elegant. It was full of the aura of a goddess. However, when Yang Jingwan saw the price, she couldn't bear it. This dress cost 290,000 yuan. It was too expensive. Even though Yang Jingwan really liked it, she had no choice but to give it up. On the other hand, Wang Howard paid for it with his card. When Yang Jingwan saw this, she walked over in shock. "I'm your husband now. Isn't it normal for a husband to pay for his wife?" Before Yang Jingwan could say anything, Wang Howard winked at her and spoke first. "But no buts. I've already picked the dress, but it's still a little monotonous. It looks a little strange. Let's go pick some jewelry." As Wang Howard spoke, he didn't wait for Yang Jingwan to object. He grabbed her hand and walked towards another part of the shopping mall. Yang Jingwan tried to pull her hand away, but she couldn't. In the end, she couldn't be bothered to do so, so she simply allowed Wang Howard to hold her hand. The two of them, a handsome man and a beautiful woman, walked hand in hand in the shopping mall, attracting many envious gazes. Yang Jingwan felt an inexplicable sense of joy in her heart. In a trance, she had the illusion that she was in love. This feeling was beautiful and intoxicating. Ding! The female lead Yang Jingwan's favorability towards the host has increased by 10. Current favorability is 65, admiration. Ding! The host has influenced the plot. Obtain 200 villain points. Chapter 152. Outside an apartment building, Su Lang stood with his hands behind his back. Behind him was a square-faced man with a long beard. "Lord God of War, may I know why you have summoned me here?" The square-faced man asked respectfully. "Soon, I will be holding a wedding. I would like to invite you to attend," Su Lang said calmly with his back facing the man. "No wonder Lord God of War disappeared from the ruins for a year. You are getting married," the square-faced man said in surprise. "I have to congratulate Lord God of War. However, I came in a hurry and didn't bring any gifts." "It's fine as long as you are here. Attend my wedding as a gift," Su Lang said as he waved his hand. "That won't do. You have to bring a gift," the square-faced man insisted. His mind was very clear. He knew that although the battle god said that he didn't want any gifts, if he really didn't bring any gifts, the battle god would definitely be unhappy. When he said this, Su Lang didn't refuse. He only said, "Also, I hope you can help me save someone." "Who?" "The richest man in Qingling, Ma Hongsheng," Su Lang replied. Then he asked curiously, "Aren't you going to ask what illness it is?" No matter what kind of illness it is, as long as I treat it, there is no illness that I can't cure. Otherwise, I wouldn't be worthy of the title enemy of Hades," the square-faced man said confidently as he stroked his beard. This square-faced man was Miracle Dr. Shui, who was known as the enemy of Hades. "It's getting late. You don't have to rush. Find a place to stay first. I will bring you there when I have the time," Su Lang said and suddenly suggested. "Also, there are quite a lot of rich people in Qingling. If you're interested, you can start a consultation. You will definitely make a fortune." Of course, there was a reason why he said that. Although Miracle Dr. Shui, the enemy of the King of Hell, was famous, it was only limited to a certain circle. He wasn't that famous in Qingling's circle. If Miracle Dr. Shui could make a name for himself in Qingling in a short period of time, he would cause an even bigger sensation when he appeared at Su Lang's wedding. "Thank you for your advice, Lord God of War. After I cure Ma Hongsheng of his strange illness, I'll get him to spread the news among the rich. By then, there will definitely be people who will flock to him like a flock of ducks, Miracle Dr. Shui said cheerfully. In addition to the title of Yama's enemy, he also had another title, which was Watching Death Without Saving. This was because his treatment was very expensive. If the patient couldn't pay him a satisfactory price, he would rather watch the patient die than save him. Of course, those rich people in Qingling would definitely be able to offer a price that would satisfy him. That's it for the time being. I still have something to do, so I'll leave first. Su Lang looked at the time and suddenly said, Sir God of War, why are you in such a hurry? What are you busy with? Miracle Dr. Shui asked nervously. Cook. After Su Lang said this, he left the stunned Miracle Dr. Shui behind and left. Soon, Su Lang returned to the apartment. He put away the cold expression he had when facing Miracle Dr. Shui and became gentle. He walked into the kitchen and immersed himself in cooking. He sighed as he cooked. If his wife hadn't returned at this time, she must still be working. His wife had it tough. Don't move. Yang Jingwan was facing the mirror and trying on a pair of diamond earrings when Wang Haoran suddenly said this. What's wrong? Yang Jingwan was stunned. Wang Haoran reached out and brushed Yang Jingwan's messy hair behind her ear. Inadvertently, his hand touched Yang Jingwan's snow-white earlobe. Yang Jingwan trembled subconsciously, but she didn't move. That's enough. After tidying Yang Jingwan's hair, Wang Haoran retracted his hand. This noble lady, I'm so envious of you. You have a husband who loves and cares for you so much. The staff in the jewelry store couldn't stop praising Yang Jingwan. It's okay. Yang Jingwan's expression was a little unnatural. I think it's pretty. Let's take this pair of earrings. Don't take it off. Let's look at other jewelry, Wang Haoran said. This way, please. The staff immediately extended her hand and led the way. Soon, Wang Haoran helped Yang Jingwan pick out a bracelet and necklace. She had a good foundation, and it was hard to pick out any flaws with her body and appearance. After dressing up, she looked even more dazzling. Even if she walked the red carpet at an international film festival, she wouldn't pale in comparison to the top female celebrities. Of course, this set wasn't cheap either. The dress, high heels, and jewelry together cost nearly $2 million. Wow, she's beautiful too. The staff in the jewelry store all gathered around and used all kinds of words to praise Yang Jingwan. Yang Jingwan's heart was drowned by all the praises. She gradually got into character and treated Wang Haoran as her husband. As for Su Lang, she had temporarily forgotten about him. She even had the illusion that she and Wang Haoran were a real couple. It's about time. Let's go. Wang Haoran looked at the time and extended his hand towards Yang Jingwan. Okay. This time, Yang Jingwan didn't resist. Instead, she naturally reached out her hand. The two held hands and left the jewelry store. University Town, in a seafood restaurant near Qingling University. A Lamborghini calf drove into the open-air parking lot. A young man in a suit walked out of the car. This man's appearance wasn't very outstanding, but he still attracted a lot of attention. The reason was simple. In the university town, there were basically some students. Any young man with a Lamborghini calf and a designer suit could become the most handsome boy here. His real name was LVFA, the man with the WeChat name Xiao Shima. He was a sad guy who was obsessed with Yang Jingwan for 4 years in college. Now, he was young and successful. He wanted to contact Yang Jingwan and pursue her again. But yesterday, he received a thunderous news. Yang Jingwan was married. However, he still didn't want to give up. He wanted to see what kind of person the man who took away his goddess was. Class monitor, just as LVFA's imagination was running wild, a surprise call came from behind him. LVFA turned around and saw 2 fashionably dressed girls walking over. He took a closer look and felt that these 2 people were very familiar. Pan Jiaojiao? Zheng Yao? LVFA said uncertainly. It really is the class monitor. We haven't seen each other for a year. I almost didn't recognize you. The 2 girls sighed in unison. Pan Jiaojiao was the one with the WeChat name Autumn Water Beauty. Zheng Yao was the one with the WeChat name Liuli. I almost didn't recognize you guys just now. LVFA smiled. After leaving school for a year, Pan Zhaojiao and Zheng Yao were better at dressing up. Especially Zheng Yao. She looked quite beautiful with makeup. When they were in school, Zheng Yao liked LVFA. However, LVFA was obsessed with Yang Jingwan and had no interest in Zheng Yao. Chapter 153. Class Monitor, is this your car? Zheng Yao pointed at the Lamborghini Caf next to LVFA. Yeah, I bought it not long ago. LVFA couldn't help but feel proud. Wow, how much is this? Pan Zhaojiao was surprised. It's not particularly expensive. It's about 5 million, LVFA said casually. In fact, this was a second-hand car. It probably cost less than 2 million to get. However, LVFA certainly wouldn't say that. You're really the class monitor. You've only graduated for a year, and you're already driving such a good car. Zheng Yao exclaimed and looked at LVFA with a lot more enthusiasm. It's nothing. It's just an entry-level Lamborghini sports car. LVFA's tone was flat, but he was very happy. What was the point of working so hard to make money? Wasn't it just to look good and win the favor of women? The three of them chatted in the open-air parking lot. Soon, more students came over. More and more students gathered. However, these students probably drove cars like Volkswagen, Xiaoli, or even Chery. Compared to LVFA, they were simply not enough. When these students saw that LVFA was so rich, they became very enthusiastic and tried to please LVFA. After Beauty Yang sees how rich class monitor Lu is, I think she must be regretting it so much that her intestines turn green, a classmate suddenly said. Beauty Yang's husband should be a successful person. He's definitely a successful person, but he's definitely not young. That's right. After all, everyone wants to be like class monitor LV, so successful at such a young age. Maybe Beauty Yang married a greasy middle-aged man. Yesterday, I asked Beauty Yang to bring her husband over. She looked reluctant. I guess she's afraid of being laughed at. This is very likely. What do you mean by very likely? To put it lightly, she married a greasy middle-aged man. To put it more seriously, she might have married a dirty old man. That's right. Nowadays, there are many young and beautiful women marrying old men. It's often seen on the news. If that's the case, it's really a waste of class monitor LV's infatuation. LVFA felt relieved when he saw that his classmates were speaking up for him. If what everyone said was true, that his goddess had married a middle-aged, greasy man or an old man, then he had to perform well when he saw his goddess later. LVFA wanted to make his goddess regret not choosing him, regret missing out on such an outstanding man. At this moment, a sports car drove over and seemed to be about to park in this parking space. LVFA and the others took up a lot of space. Everyone make way. Someone wants to stop the car, LVFA hurriedly said to his classmates. Class monitor Lu, you drive a Lamborghini. Why are you afraid of a McLaren? Pan Zhaojiao looked at the exterior of the supercar and saw that it was a McLaren, so she couldn't help but say. All kinds of supercars had a unique style. As long as you knew a little, you would be able to recognize the brand of the supercar. Open your eyes and take a look. Is that an ordinary McLaren? That's a McLaren P1. It's a global limited edition and costs more than 12 million yuan. You might not be able to buy it, even if you have the money. LVFA's research on supercars was more thorough than Pan Zhaojiao's, so he reminded her in surprise. Those who could drive a McLaren P1 were not as simple as being rich. LVFA couldn't afford to offend them. Oh, then make way for me. When the students heard LVFA's words, they were shocked and hurriedly moved away from the parking space to make it easier for others to park. As they moved away, everyone looked curiously at the McLaren P1. They wanted to see what kind of person it was. However, it was evening and the light wasn't particularly bright. Plus, there was a protective film on the glass of the supercar, so everyone couldn't see the people inside. No one said anything. Their gazes seemed to be drawn to the McLaren P1. The McLaren P1 steadily parked in the parking space, and the lights began to go off. A dazzling and beautiful woman walked out of the passenger seat. It's Yang Jingwan. Everyone recognized her at one glance. Although Yang Jingwan had dressed up, her makeup was very light. Everyone recognized her as soon as they saw her familiar and beautiful face. Hello, everyone. Long time no see. Yang Jingwan greeted her classmates. The students only squeezed out some smiles and did not respond verbally. This was because they looked down on Yang Jingwan. They felt that it was shameless of her to marry a middle-aged, greasy man or even an old man for money. So what if her husband drove a McLaren P1? He was so old. Yang Jingwan was sure that he wasn't happy in some aspect of his life. Goddess, long time no see. You're even more beautiful now that you're back. You've stunned everyone. LVFA complimented from the bottom of his heart. Although he was obsessed with Yang Jingwan and wanted her to regret it, he couldn't bring himself to be mean to her. When he saw the student's cold attitude towards Yang Jingwan, he immediately tried to smooth things over. Then, LVFA and the other students all looked at the McLaren driver's seat. They wanted to see if the person walking out was a middle-aged, greasy man or an old man. Wang Haoren walked out of the McLaren and naturally held onto Yang Jingwan's hand. He tilted his head and asked with a smile, "Honey, are these your classmates?" "Yes, hubby." Yang Jingwan called out to Wang Haoren intimately. Ding, the host has successfully pretended to be the female lead, Yang Jingwan's husband. Received 600 villain points. Su Lang's protagonist aura -30. Host's villain aura +30. Ding, the host intercepted the protagonist, Su Lang, and successfully acted cool in front of the female lead, Yang Jingwan's classmate. Received 600 villain points. Su Lang's protagonist aura -30. Host's villain aura +30. Ding, the female lead, Yang Jingwan's affability towards the host has increased by 10. Current affability, 75, undying love. Ding, the host has influenced the plot. Received 500 villain points. Su Lang's protagonist aura -30. Host villain aura +30. Chapter 154. LVFA and the others exchanged glances with one another and were dumbfounded. This was completely different from what they had expected. Not only was Yang Jingwan's husband not a middle-aged, greasy old man, but he was an incredibly handsome man. These girls originally looked down on Yang Jingwan, but now that they saw Wang Haoren, they immediately understood why Yang Jingwan got married so quickly. Wang Haoren drove a McLaren P1. Even if he was a poor man, these girls would still be willing to marry him. With his handsome face, tall body, and princely temperament, plenty of women were willing to throw themselves at him. No wonder Yang Jingwan fell in love with him. "Isn't this a gathering? Why is everyone standing here?" Wang Haoren asked when he saw that everyone was in a daze. I've already booked a private room. This way, please." LVFA stuttered as he led the way respectfully. He originally thought that Yang Jingwan was lucky, but when he saw Wang Haoren, he immediately felt inferior. He had completely given up on Yang Jingwan. All that was left was to give her his blessings. After all, Yang Jingwan was the goddess that he had been infatuated with for 4 years. He was also a bootlicker to begin with. Now that he saw that Yang Jingwan had found such a good husband, what else could he be unhappy about? While they were eating, LVFA toasted Yang Jingwan with a glass of wine, sincerely wishing her a happy life. The other students also expressed their blessings to Yang Jingwan. Yang Jingwan was in a daze. She had completely assumed the identity of Wang Haoren's wife. She smiled and responded to everyone's blessings. After the meal, the students dispersed. Yang Jingwan and Wang Haoren arrived at the open-air parking lot. She opened her arms and hugged Wang Haoren. Her eyes were closed, and she had a blissful smile on her face. She thought back to everything that had happened that day. It felt like a dream. Before long, she opened her eyes. Yang Jingwan let go of Wang Haoren's arms and looked at him gently. "Thank you for giving me such a dreamlike day. But now that the dream is over, it's time to wake up. Actually, as long as you want, you can keep dreaming." Wang Haoren looked at her without blinking. You don't dislike me?" Yang Jingwan was surprised. "Ever since we first met, have I ever disliked you?" Wang Haoren asked. He knew that even though Yang Jingwan was married, she was still innocent. Hearing this, Yang Jingwan's heart surged as she subconsciously tried to recall. Since the first time they met, Wang Haoren did not show any disdain at all. Instead, he helped him in every way and cared for him. What does this mean? This is true love. However, Yang Jingwan didn't know how to respond to him. Wang Haoran didn't force her. He simply said, "It's getting late. I'll take you home first." Although Yang Jingwan's favorability had reached 75, her situation was a little special because she had high moral values. She wasn't like Tang Bingyin or Qin Yunhan. If he rashly took her now, Yang Jingwan would definitely resist with her conservative personality. A mere 75 favorability wasn't enough for her to disregard everything and abandon her morals. Wang Haoran would only consider taking her when her favorability level reached 90. "Get in the car." Wang Haoran was very gentlemanly. He opened the car door and shielded Yang Jingwan's head as she entered the car to prevent her from kowtowing. At around 10 p.m., McLaren arrived near Yang Jingwan's apartment. Wang Haoran opened the car door and let Yang Jingwan out. He watched as she left. Yang Jingwan walked towards the apartment building, but every 3 steps she took, she would look back. After taking 30 steps, she suddenly turned back and stopped in front of Wang Haoran. She reached out and hooked her arms around Wang Haoran's neck. She tiptoed and closed her eyes. After 10 breaths, Yang Jingwan finally let go. She suppressed her pounding heart and said, "I won't let you down." As soon as she finished speaking, she covered her burning face and hurriedly left as if she was fleeing. Wang Haoran touched the lipstick on his lips and laughed. What kind of expression would the shameless god of war have on his face if he knew? Yang Jingwan tiptoed back to the apartment lobby. It was dark in the lobby. She immediately turned on the lights, but she screamed in fright. Su Lang was sitting on the sofa. "What are you doing? Why are you sitting on the sofa without turning on the lights? You're like a ghost. You scared me." Yang Jingwan patted her chest and complained. "I called so many times. Why didn't you pick up?" Su Lang asked with a frown. "My phone was turned off. How could I pick it up? You came back so late. Shouldn't you at least call and tell me?" "I called my mom and told her that I had something to do tonight. Didn't she say anything?" Su Lang shook his head and looked at Yang Jingwan's outfit. "Why are you dressed like this? Where did you go?" "The company held a party." Yang Jingwan lied. In order to prevent Su Lang from continuing to ask, she rebuked him. "What do you mean by that? Why are you questioning me? Do I have to report to you what I did? I work so hard every day. What about you? I just cooked. As soon as I came back, you asked me this and that. Do you still want to live?" Su Lang suddenly felt apologetic. "What about me? Since you don't believe me, then let's get a divorce." Yang Jingwan took advantage of the situation and said, "Honey, I was wrong. I shouldn't have doubted you." Su Lang's expression collapsed as he quickly said, "Su Lang, we've been together for over a year. You should be able to tell that I don't like you at all. Why force yourself? Let's just get a divorce. It's better for both of us." Yang Jingwan sighed. "Honey, I can't live without you. I don't want a divorce." Su Lang said firmly, "It's so late. What are you yelling about?" Li Monli walked out of the bedroom sleepily. "Mom, Jingwan said she wants a divorce. Hurry and persuade her." Su Lang quickly said, "Divorce? That's a good thing. You should have gotten a divorce a long time ago." Li Monli's sleepiness suddenly disappeared, and she almost raised her hands and feet in agreement. "Mom, did you forget how I got married to Jingwan? If I divorce her, aren't you afraid that bad luck will come looking for you again?" Su Lang reminded. "We're doing great now. Old Yang's project is settled, and Jingwan has made a lot of money from selling her house." "Hurry and shut your mouth," Li Monli yelled. "If I wasn't around, you would have lost all of this," Su Lang sneered. "Forget it. Our family's luck has changed. Even without you, things will continue to be good," Li Monli retorted. Su Lang didn't want to argue with Li Monli, so he looked directly at Yang Jingwan. "Back then, your parents wanted me to marry you. Now that your family's bad luck is gone, you want to divorce me. Are you trying to burn the bridge after crossing the river?" Su Lang shamelessly claimed the moral high ground and tried to make Yang Jingwan take back her decision to divorce him. In reality, the Yang family's bad luck was all secretly manipulated by Su Lang. His goal was to make Yang Jingwan marry him. But of course, Su Lang wouldn't say this out loud. "Su Lang, I really don't like you. Why are you clinging on to me?" Hearing Su Lang's words, Yang Jingwan didn't want to go overboard, so she tried her best to persuade him. Su Lang thought for a moment and replied, Wedding. After the wedding, if you still think this way, I'll agree to divorce you. He originally planned to win Yang Jingwan's love as an ordinary person. But looking at the situation now, it didn't seem possible. In that case, he could only reveal his god of war identity at the wedding. He was going to let Yang Jingwan know what kind of invincible and powerful husband she had married. He firmly believed that as long as he revealed his identity, Yang Jingwan would fall hopelessly and madly in love with him. Okay, it's a promise. Yang Jingwan immediately agreed after seeing Su Lang relent. It was impossible for her to change her mind. She was definitely going to divorce him. Chapter 155. Late at night, in a room in the basement, there was still a bright light. There were all sorts of transparent bottles and jars in this room, and they contained all sorts of liquids and solids of different colors. At first glance, this place looked like a research laboratory. In fact, it was more or less the same. This was Wang Haoran's special laboratory for researching all sorts of drugs. Entering this laboratory required a key and a fingerprint password, and it was extremely secure. In addition, this was the Wang family's private villa, so other than Wang Haoran, no one else could enter. The poison used against Xiao Yifeng, Yang Wuxian, Ma Hongsheng, and the rest was concocted here. At this moment, Wang Haoran was concocting a drug that could activate the rainbow water lily's poison. Although Ma Hongsheng was still asleep most of the time, he still had 7 to 8 hours a day to deal with matters. Wang Haoran and Cheng Ruwei had reached an agreement. Ma Weikai had gotten into trouble, and he definitely wouldn't be able to get away for a while. He planned to use a catalytic drug to increase the toxicity of Ma Hongsheng's rainbow water lily poison, so that Ma Hongsheng would sleep more deeply every day. This way, Cheng Ruwei would become the leader of the Ma family's business. Not long after, Wang Haoran finished concocting the catalytic drug. As long as this catalytic drug was used on Ma Hongsheng, the outcome would be set. At least, there wouldn't be anyone who could cure Ma Hongsheng's poison. Wang Haoran had already prepared for this. When he was concocting the rainbow water lily poison, he added some extremely hidden poisonous herbs as supplementary ingredients, which made the toxicity of the rainbow water lily poison extremely complicated. This was considered a supreme level poison technique, and even Xiao Yifeng, who had grandmaster medical skills, wouldn't be able to detect it. If he couldn't neutralize the supplementary poison and hastily treated Ma Hongsheng, it would only make things worse and worsen Ma Hongsheng's condition. Wang Haoran kept the catalytic drug and prepared to let Cheng Ruwei give it to Ma Hongsheng secretly. However, it was too late now, so he could only contact Cheng Ruwei tomorrow. The next morning, after Su Lang finished making breakfast, he rode out on a scooter. However, he wasn't going to buy groceries like before. Instead, he was going to look for Miracle Dr. Shui. Su Lang was determined to do a good job at the wedding. Ma Hongsheng's help was very important to him. However, Ma Hongsheng was now suffering from a strange illness, so he was not wholeheartedly helping him arrange the wedding. There were only 10 days left before the wedding. Hence, Su Lang couldn't wait to bring Miracle Dr. Shui to treat Ma Hongsheng. Su Lang brought Miracle Dr. Shui to Tianhui Clinic. Ma Hongsheng happened to be awake at this time. When he saw Su Lang, he quickly stood up and greeted him respectfully. Then, he looked at the people Su Lang brought with him with a puzzled look. Lord Battle God, this is... The king of hell's enemy is Miracle Dr. Shui, Su Lang replied. Is this the famous Miracle Dr. Shui in Beijing? It's an honor to meet you. Ma Hongsheng was shocked as he greeted Miracle Dr. Shui. In the past, he had only heard a little about it, but he didn't expect to see it in person today. Lord God of War, why did you bring Miracle Dr. Shui here? Ma Hongsheng seemed to have thought of something as he probed. Naturally, I brought him here to treat your illness, Su Lang said plainly. Thank you, Lord God of War. What have I done to deserve such high regard from Lord God of War? Ma Hongsheng was flattered. I have something that I need you for, so I hope you can get better as soon as possible, Su Lang said directly. If Lord has any orders, I will do anything, Ma Hongsheng said hurriedly. Su Lang nodded slightly and signaled to Miracle Dr. Shui with his eyes. Mr. Ma, let me take your pulse, Miracle Dr. Shui said. Okay. Ma Hongsheng nodded and lay down on the bed. Miracle Dr. Shui pressed on Ma Hongxing's pulse and closed his eyes. After about 10 seconds, a smile appeared on his face as he opened his eyes and said, "Mr. Ma, you don't have a strange illness. You have been poisoned." Poisoned? Ma Hongxiang was shocked. "That's right. You have been poisoned by a type of rainbow water lily. This poison has been mixed by an expert and can't be detected with modern equipment. However, it can't fool me." Miracle Dr. Shui stroked his beard and asked, "Mr. Ma, have you offended anyone? I'm a businessman. Because of profit, I have offended many people. I really can't remember who it is at this moment," Ma Hongxiang said. "Let's not care about who poisoned you first. Let's treat him first," Su Lang interrupted. He only wanted Ma Hongxiang to get better as soon as possible so that he could send Ma Hongxiang to help him with his wedding. As for whom Ma Hongxiang had offended, he couldn't be bothered. "To cure the rainbow water lily, you will need some rare herbs," Miracle Dr. Shui said. "Just tell me, Miracle Doctor. I can get someone to do it immediately. As long as Qing Ling has it, I will definitely be able to get it. As long as Miracle Doctor can cure me, I will definitely give you a satisfactory remuneration," Ma Hongxiang said with a smile. Miracle Dr. Shui's smile widened when he saw that Ma Hongxiang was so cooperative. "Actually, it's just some rare herbs. It's not that rare. With Mr. Ma's wealth, you will definitely be able to get it easily." He stroked his beard and continued, "Other than collecting herbs, I also hope that after Mr. Ma recovers, you can help me spread the news in your circle." "I completely understand what Miracle Doctor means." Ma Hongxiang immediately understood. "I have many rich friends. Some of them live like princes while others are overworked. They all have some sort of illness." "That's great." Miracle Dr. Shui stroked his beard and laughed. It seemed like this trip to Qingling was going to be a profitable one. After all, the rich didn't lack money at all. Miracle Dr. Shui wrote down the required herbs on a piece of paper and got Ma Hongxiang to get someone to collect them. While collecting the herbs, Ma Hongxiang went to Cheng Rui's room to tell her the good news. He told her that there was a miracle doctor who could treat him. Cheng Rui felt regretful after hearing it. If Ma Hongxing's strange illness could continue, it would be extremely beneficial for her. What a pity. Why did such an annoying miracle doctor suddenly appear? However, Cheng Rui didn't reveal any strange emotions on the surface. Instead, she jumped for joy and was happy for Ma Hongxiang. Cheng Rui's body was weak, and she needed to recuperate. Moreover, her neck was injured. Ma Hongxiang didn't want to talk too much with her. After telling Cheng Rui the good news, he left immediately. The moment Ma Hongxiang left the ward, the smile on Cheng Rui's face slowly disappeared. Her expression turned cold and frightening. Ma Hongxing's description was very detailed. He said that he was actually poisoned by an expert and didn't have any strange illness. When Cheng Rui heard the word poisoned, she thought of someone. Now that Ma Hongxiang had left, Cheng Rui took out her phone and made a call. Chapter 156. He had just finished his morning class. Wang Haoran saw that there was a call and immediately found a quiet place to answer the call. "You've been conflicted for so long. Have you thought it through?" Wang Haoran laughed. He had asked Cheng Rui to take a picture the night before, but she had only replied today. She had really been conflicted for a long time. "Does Ma Hongxing's coma have anything to do with you?" Cheng Rui didn't mention the picture and asked seriously. "Why do you think so?" Wang Haoran asked lazily. "Since you could make a move on Ma Weikai without leaving a trace, of course you could make a move on Ma Hongxiang. Didn't the hospital check that he had a strange illness? But a miracle doctor came and said that Ma Hongxiang was poisoned, not a strange illness. I don't believe that it was a coincidence that Ma Hongxiang was poisoned." "Miracle doctor? Where did this miracle doctor come from?" Wang Haoran became serious. "I heard that he came from the capital. Does Ma Hongxiang have such connections?" "It's not his connections, but a young man who brought him over. That young man's identity is mysterious, and Ma Hongxiang is very respectful to him." Upon hearing this, Wang Haoran immediately determined that the mysterious young man Cheng Rui was talking about was the god of war, Su Lang. Only someone of Su Lang's status could summon a miracle doctor from the capital immediately. What did the godly doctor say? Does he have the confidence to cure Ma Hongxing's poison? Wang Haoren put away his lazy thoughts and asked seriously. From what I heard from Ma Hongxing, it seems that the miracle doctor has absolute confidence. Absolute confidence. Wang Haoren couldn't help but smile and regain his relaxed smile. The poison of the rainbow water lily had been mixed with very hidden auxiliary poisons. Even a divine doctor with supreme medical skills would have to spend a lot of time to figure out which auxiliary poisons were used to treat the rainbow water lily. Only in this way could Ma Hongxing be completely cured with targeted treatment. But the miracle doctor who treated Ma Hongxing said that he had absolute confidence. Obviously, this miracle doctor didn't even detect the hidden auxiliary poison of the rainbow water lily poison. His medical skills were at most at Xiao Yifeng's level. If Ma Hongxing recovers, it won't be good for either of us. Why do I feel like you don't care at all? Cheng Rue felt a little strange when she heard Wang Haoren's tone. Don't worry about that. Help me with something. Do what? Let as many people know about the miracle doctor's treatment process as possible. As for how to do it and what method to use, you can figure out yourself. You think that the miracle doctor can't cure Ma Hongxing, right? Why are you so sure? It's a secret. If you want to know, you know. Beep beep. Cheng Rue didn't say anything and directly hung up the phone. About 5 minutes later, Wang Haoren received a WeChat message from Cheng Rue. The content of the message was, delete it immediately after reading it. A few seconds later, Cheng Rue sent a photo over. Wang Haoren stared at the photo for a few minutes before reluctantly deleting it. You have a good figure. Wang Haoren sent a message to her playfully. Answer. Cheng Rue replied instantly. That godly doctor's skills aren't good enough to cure my poison. If he tries to cure me rashly, it will only make things worse and worsen my condition. Wang Haoren first sent a message to explain. Then he reminded, don't worry. That mysterious young man and the miracle doctor won't do you any good if they stay by Ma Hongxing's side. Remember to do as I say. Leave it to me. Cheng Rue replied, and then got up from the bed. The wound on her neck was just a superficial wound, and her body was just a little weak. Walking wasn't a problem at all. After a while, she arrived at Ma Hongxing's room. Rue, why aren't you resting? Ma Hongxing saw her and immediately asked with concern. I'm fine. I just want to move around. Otherwise, I feel like my bones are getting rusty. Cheng Rue explained and then looked at the other two people in the room. She had already met Su Lang once or twice. The other person was a square-faced man with a long beard. Obviously, he was the miracle doctor. You're the miracle doctor who can cure Hongxing, right? How confident are you? Cheng Rue pretended to be nervous and asked. Miracle Dr. Xue frowned when he was questioned and couldn't help but feel unhappy. This is my wife. She's too concerned about my condition, so she came over to take a look. Please don't mind. Ma Hongxing hurriedly smiled at Miracle Dr. Xue and comforted him. He then turned to Cheng Rue and said, Rue, don't worry. Rue, don't worry about it. This is a famous divine doctor in the capital. With his treatment, my strange illness will be cured soon. Don't worry. I want to stay and take a look. Cheng Rue insisted. All right, but you're too weak to stand for too long. Take a seat. Ma Hongxing moved a stool over and let Cheng Rue sit down. Miracle Dr. Xue was unhappy when he saw Cheng Rue's action, but he didn't say anything. After all, he still needed Ma Hongxing's help to promote his treatment. Mr. Ma, please don't forget about the promotion. Miracle Dr. Xue reminded. Don't worry, Miracle Dr. Xue. Leave it to me. Ma Hongxing assured. What promotion? Cheng Rue's heart skipped a beat, and she quickly asked. I promised Miracle Dr. Xue that after he cured me, I'll help him promote his name in my circle of friends. Ma Hongxing explained. I see. Cheng Rue nodded and said to Miracle Dr. Xue, Miracle Doctor, can you guarantee 100% cure for Hongxing's strange illness? Of course. Miracle Dr. Xue snorted and replied. Since that's the case, why do you have to promote it? Cheng Rue looked at Ma Hongxing and said, why don't you call your rich friends over and let them take a look? What promotion could be more effective than seeing it with their own eyes? Ma Hongxing couldn't help but nod his head. He felt that this was a good idea, but he still asked for Miracle Dr. Shue's opinion. Miracle Doctor, what do you think? Your wife's suggestion is very good. Miracle Dr. Shue smiled and agreed. His attitude towards Chung Rue had changed a little. Letting those rich people see his ability with their own eyes and broaden their horizons was indeed much more useful than word-of-mouth publicity. All right, since Miracle Dr. Shue has agreed, I'll get someone to pass the message to my rich friends immediately. Ma Hongsheng said immediately. Since you want to promote it, why don't you inform the media? Chung Rue gave another suggestion. There's no need to inform the media. Miracle Dr. Shue immediately rejected. He only treated the rich and couldn't be bothered with the commoners. To him, there was no need to let the media publicize it to the commoners. I think it's fine. Let's inform the media. Su Lang suddenly interrupted.